Hello and welcome to the 29th Planet Destiny podcast, very special edition, probably coming out about a day earlier than we normally get this out because this is a special Taken King hype building train edition. Basically, Game Informer has some really awesome articles put out, and they had a digital article put out on like Tuesday, I think it was, or Wednesday, Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. And a lot of information in there, so we just wanted to get in and start discussing all of it a little bit before the normal scheduled podcast time, because we wanted to talk about it a little bit earlier. So my normal guests here are Tefty and Briar Rabbit, and joining back with us is also Papercut. Hi, Paper.
What's going on, guys?
And then we also have two new guys. One is a recent addition to Planet Destiny. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, this is True Vanguard. I've joined the Planet Destiny crew just a couple of weeks ago, so excited to be here.
Awesome. And the other guy that happens to be here has been here since the very beginning. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, my name is Ryan. You guys probably know of me from the Twitch stream, Twitter. I do a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff. I don't usually I never have actually done a video or anything like that just because I don't like to be on camera or kind of be in the spotlight. But I was pretty excited today because of all this news, so I was like, hey, why not?
Yeah. Didn't you do like the very, very first video for Planet Destiny? The
Zerg video?
No, not the Zerg. Like the very, very first one, where it was like basically a week after Destiny came out. And
no.
Okay.
That was actually somebody else.
Okay.
No, he did a much better job than I would have done. No.
Okay. So this is your first, at least vocal appearance in any sort of Planet Destiny content. I'm sure people are very hyped to hear you as well.
I always see questions, about, who does this and who does that, and who is this, and because I'm kind of like the faceless, name to a lot of this stuff. And so,
I think Paper said you're like Dr. Claw.
Yeah. Dr. Claw. Dr. Claw.
Yeah.
Do you get Ryan hyped on the Twitch?
Oh, dude! Anytime you come in, it's like Planet Destiny. Yeah. The actual Planet Destiny account says something. It's like, oh my God, Ryan's here! Hi, Ryan.
Ryan hype. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then I accidentally forget that I'm signed in the Planet Destiny account, and they're like, Ryan hype. Like, no, sorry guys, just Holtzman.
It's happened a few times.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so I figure we should just get started just talking about whatever we want to talk about here. We have a bunch of articles on our website, so if you guys want to kind of read along or just start reading, go to our website right now, planetdestiny.com. There's about 5 or 6 articles out there right now where we're going over all this. I figure we could probably start with the 20 reasons to be excited for Taken King, because I like lists, people like lists, and you can go over lists very easily. So first off, weapons, armor, class items, and even your ghost shell all offer perk customization as well as increased power and light for your hero.
I mean, the ghost is going to give you a perk. And that also means that they're actually going to play some sort of role into your build. That's awesome, right? I mean, we've been talking about wanting to actually get a different ghost shell and customize stuff.
Yeah, which those are also 100% confirmed in another interview with Luke Smith today.
Yep. Yeah, that was a great interview.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, it's awesome. I can't wait to see all these customizable options and abilities for the armor and have it mean something. And I can't wait. What do you think?
Dude, getting just the new weapons in general are going to be awesome. The new armor that I've seen looks cool. I can't wait to see what the new actual perks are going to be on it. Yeah. Like have we only seen the Warlock exotics thus far? Or
those gloves.
Yeah, those electric gloves.
Yeah, those look awesome.
Yeah, I saw the stats on them are like increased melee, grenade throw distance, and increased reload on your shotgun.
Well, I wouldn't. Just to be fair, I wouldn't look at those as perks as final, because even the last unique perk wasn't even available at all. So I wouldn't judge that.
Yeah,
that's true.
But I kind of like where they're going with that, because as somebody that didn't use hand cannons, like I used the Vex for a while, and it was kind of sad to see that there was no way to increase the reload time on it. And I think now that they're coming out with more variants
I thought special weapon reloader would increase
I think it does.
Yeah, special weapon reloader does.
But that's for special. What does that come on?
Lots of different gloves.
Raid gear, especially.
Raid gear has it.
But isn't that your secondary?
No,
That's your
no.
sniper?
Destiny sees it as a special weapon
Yep.
because it's a fusion rifle.
Yeah.
Yep.
What?
Yeah,
That is
Vex
news
Missile
to
Class
me.
counts for the specialist modifier as well. So if you need a primary weapon,
Oh, you guys are blowing my mind right now. I've been missing out apparently on some
you've
good
been doing
gloves.
too much PVE. You need to get into some of that PVE grind.
Apparently.
It's cool too that the ghost shell is going to be more than just a cosmetic thing, right?
Yep.
It's like a lot of people are really jealous of the people who have that red ghost shell from the special
Digital
edition of
Frontier
the
edition.
original vanilla Destiny. But now that's going to be, old news. Now your ghost shell is actually going to give you customization perks, and that's much more interesting. So you might go with something that not necessarily the coolest looking ghost shell, but it offers some kind of perk that's going to be really useful in some situation. This one will unlock that door twice as fast.
Dude, if that's the or perk that's going to be on some of those, I'm going to have to get rid of my OG red ghost shell. Open these doors a little bit faster, man.
Yeah,
OG
think of how
Red.
much easier the game
Retire
will
OG
get.
Red. Do you think they're going to add a customization though, or a perk to the older ones? Do you think they might like give your vanilla ghost shell that's just plain white, plus 10 discipline or something like that?
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
You may just be switching it out at the beginning of the new game, though. Kind of make that transition since you are getting a new ghost. So to say,
Speaking of which,
right?
good transition time.
Mhm.
We're getting a new ghost voice actor.
That's
Dinklebot is no more. It's now Nolan North, who, if you've played any game on PlayStation, you're probably familiar with him. He does a lot of voice acting there. He did the Uncharted series. He was Nathan Drake there.
Yeah, I want Nathan Drake to be the ghost. Like the actual character from Uncharted to be the ghost. Like he's been sealed in some sort of digital construct and then resurrected as a ghost.
He can have a half tucked in shirt.
Yeah. Be like, oh god,
Does
this
the
door? I gotta open
would
this
the
door.
ghost have like that nice 5 o'clock after shadow, or
I hope
Yes,
so.
exactly.
I hope so.
Yeah,
always
This
on?
is good news. I really like that they're actually going back to record the old dialogue over again, so there will be continuity. But with it doesn't really matter, right? It's a robot, so it could change voices. Like the GPS in your car, you could change the voice on your GPS.
Oh, it's just a
you
voice
can have
setting,
it be
yeah.
whatever you want. So it wouldn't be that jarring that you could change the voice on your ghost, right? Because it's a
Yeah.
robot. But
Is it, though?
it is a character in the game, so it'll be nice that it kind of has a personality that Nolan North develops, and that it's continuous from the beginning of the game to 10 years in the future, the end of the game.
Well, he was talking about that though, also about how just because they are some sort of robotic digital type of thing, but they also have a life cycle, and he was mentioning that Nolan North was mentioning about that's an interesting thing that these ghosts understand a concept of mortality because you revive these dead ghosts. Why is the ghost dead? So he was expounding on that. I thought it was pretty cool.
I thought it was cool too. It was a good interview.
Yeah,
I
really
need
good
to
interview.
check that one out for sure. I don't think I've looked at the Nolan North interview.
It's interesting too that they changed the voice actor. I wonder if it's because people were unhappy with Peter Dinklage, his performance, or if it was just like a timing thing. Like maybe Peter Dinklage has gotten a lot more popular because of Game of Thrones over the last few years. So yeah, it could be, right? And like maybe it's really expensive to get Peter Dinklage
Yeah, it
now.
probably is.
We don't know when the original dialogue
I
was
think that's what
recorded.
it is.
That could have been recorded a long time ago when the story was something else.
Well, I mean,
we've all
look
heard
back
the rumors
to
of
I think
the
it was
story.
the 2013 E3 demo where we saw them go through that little tunnel, and then Peter Dinklage comes out. He flies around, but he's like, "Let me find 2 sticks and rub them together." Like he had a lot of personality there. And then in this final version of the game, a lot different. So I think the prevailing theory here is that he had recorded his lines, in like 2013, but then they had gone through so many different revisions of the story, didn't have time to get him back in or something, just used those old recorded lines, which is why the dialogue from him seems so spotty at times, where
wooden.
just very, very wooden at times. Other times he's, a cell from the prison of elders, and you're like, whoa, okay, whoa,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, I think that's just an audio mixing problem.
That is an audio
They never
mixing
went
problem,
back
but sometimes
and
he has way more enthusiasm. Like he just has way more enthusiasm for one particular scene, and then sometimes it's just poorly directed. The the world's grave scene comes to mind for that, and the ending line of, "They've been seeding Earth for centuries, waiting for their gods to return." It just in that type of inflection, and you're like, I don't know much about voice acting. I know how to read copy, and that would sound like a bad read to me. Like I would have, yeah, it was really cringy.
But there may have been like more to that.
There might have been. Like we just
like,
don't know.
It might have been a whole paragraph, and that was just cut out because that worked for the story they ended up with for the release version of Destiny.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's hard to tell.
We don't know.
Regardless,
It is
I
hard
think
to
it
tell.
really speaks to the confidence that Bungie has in Nolan, that they are, recorded every single one of the lines. And going back to that 20 Reasons article, it says all the original missions have been reorganized, contextualized, and placed within a larger quest framework too. So I think it's going to give people a good reason to go back and even replay the story from beginning to end, not only to hear him, but just to get kind of that new experience of and how they're reorganizing stuff.
That's one of the questions I've seen a lot is, I've already run through this with 3 characters. Does Bungie expect me to delete one of my characters to rerun through the story? And I was like, the fact that that's a question means Bungie's definitely doing something right. The fact that people are already thinking about deleting a character just to rerun through the story, that's the biggest problem with Destiny in most people's opinion, is that the story sucks. So now people are actually, even before it comes out, people are thinking about deleting a whole character just to run through it again. That speaks highly.
Well, I just recently ran through the story again because I made a brand new Titan, and I'm a day one player, and I'm pretty involved in Destiny. And to be honest, when I ran through it for the 4th time, I still didn't understand the story. So it's cool that they're gonna go back and like redo the sound bites for it. But if they actually go even above and beyond and start explaining some of those things in between, before I get into the Taken King or through Crota's and then now into the Taken King, it'd be really nice if they set it all up, like how they probably originally.
Yeah, and even the old even older subclasses are getting dedicated quest lines that explain their use and place in the world. End quote. So
that sounds cool.
I can't wait for that.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, expanding upon the feeling of the story and feeling of the world, so you have more of an identity with the type of subclass you prefer to choose. Like it gives you more of a grounding.
I mean,
I really dig it.
Even if like the Gunslinger has us do absolutely atrocious things, I mean, Gunslinger's still going to be my favorite subclass, at least until I do the Night Stalker quest, and then Night Stalker will be my
Blade
favorite.
Dancer, you got to go kill like 100 babies to get Blink.
You know what? That makes me hate Blink even more. And
Yeah, but you already.
I already hated it. Now I have even more of a reason. Like, if I see someone using Blink, I'd be like, "You baby killer! You killed 100 babies for that."
The RNG algorithm has been retooled to be smarter, rewarding you with more frequently with items you could use, and attempting to avoid giving you those you already have. I'm on the edge about this one. I'm not sure if this is a good idea.
I think it's a great idea because I've gotten about 20 Sawtooth oscillators on my new Hunter on Xbox. I got 3 legendaries yesterday. All 3 of them were the Vindicator auto rifle. So, just some retooling there would be well accepted from me.
So I think for like casual players, this is going to be great because they're, if you only put in 5 hours a week into Destiny, you get more of a chance of getting new loot like out of that raid or out of those nightfalls. But for players who put a lot of time in, I'm wondering if this is going to shorten the amount of time that raids and nightfalls and all this stuff feels relevant, right? Like the Prison of Elders problem where there's just nothing there to keep you coming back. There's no loot reward to keep you coming back.
Prison of Elders has Varix, Guardian. Do you not wish to come back to see your warden?
I think Prison
No, that guy talks forever.
I think Prison is kind of a unique example, though, because Prison has rewards already that aren't that useful to most people. And even if it did have rewards that were useful, how it is now, if you don't have a kind of a guaranteed way to get something good, like is pretty much what's happening in Taken King, where it's doing a smart reward type thing. If you're going in, let's say 5 times a week, and you're getting maybe the same thing or nothing throughout that week, I mean, you're not going to have any real incentive or drive to keep going as it is now. But in the future, if you're going to be able to, if you know you're going to be able to get good stuff, and you're going to be able to get different stuff, so you're not just getting the same weapons or the same stuff you've already got, 3 of. I mean, I think it's gonna incentivize people to go do.
It will short term, right? But long term, I wonder if it will. Like,
no,
I'm still running Vault of Glass to get the Praetorian foil. Still.
Oh, don't talk about the Praetorian foil. Oh my god.
If I got everything in the first 4 or 5 runs of Vault of Glass, would the motivation still be there for me to keep going in? Aside from just having fun in the Vault of Glass.
Here's the thing, though. What you're not taking consideration is the curve that they're generating on that, because we're talking like, oh man, I hope I don't get everything in the first 3 weeks of like Crota's End. Like, you got a lot of stuff immediately, and on Vault of Glass it was very dry. What I think they're looking at is being able to tool a curve so it doesn't take somebody 1,400 hours like myself to get a Galahorn, and instead get 20 No Land Beyonds and 20 Thunderlords and so on and so forth, which is true. I've had so many of those drop for me. So if they're tooling the curve to make sense for a longer term progression, then I'm for it. If they tool it so you get everything right away, then no, I won't like that at all.
Yeah. But what is the state of reforging weapons?
I don't think we've heard yet.
Yeah.
Because if it's not there, then it makes sense to increase the drops, because then you need to rely on more drops to get the roll that you want on a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's definitely going to depend on what the mechanics of the game are. On another podcast, you guys were talking about the shotguns and the fusion rifle nerf. When I was playing through the story originally, I went into the Crucible as a level 11. I went in with a white shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, it felt great because I could not one-shot people if I wasn't like right in their chest. It felt really fair. And on top of that, I also had a white rocket launcher. And no pre-detonation to me makes the game so much better. You have to aim it.
Yeah.
Like, decreasing the range on it is like pretty good. But you know what it's going to make even worse? Blink. Blink can already dodge a rocket. You decrease the detonation and you're never going to hit him.
Oh, man.
And the thing about Blink is it's so hard to nerf Blink, because as someone who uses Blink a lot,
hate you.
If you even nerf it a little bit, you won't be able to navigate the maps at all.
I'm okay with that. That would make you switch to a different jump. Nerf it into the ground.
You may want to just take the jump out altogether. Maybe it's time to rip off the Band-Aid when everything new is coming out.
I can do that though.
Yeah, I don't see a change like that coming until Destiny 2, unless whoever was in that last weekly update actually ends up going, okay, I couldn't balance it. We're just removing it.
Yeah, Sage had directly talked about Blink shotguns and how they were kind of annoying, and
kind of.
He said, a little more than kind of, but he said that obviously Blink was not going to be just completely taken out. But I think maybe not at release of Taken King, but maybe a couple months, give or take, it's going to be changed a little bit just to be a little more fair. But how do we start talking about Blink?
Paper cuts shifted.
I went on a tangent. That's what I
what were we even originally talking about there?
It's podcast. That's what
Probably
podcasts
a good
do.
time to move on.
We were talking about the reforging. You had mentioned reforging, which is a good point.
Oh, yes.
Reforging the Blink, that's a pretty big tangent,
play
man.
Talked
into
about,
how loot drops.
Yeah, I don't know if there will be reforging, because
on the E3 build, we saw armor would be available for reforging,
which would
but
make
then again,
more
that's just the
sense.
E3 build. Yeah.
But hopefully, I'm hoping, my personal thought is that armor reforging would be a better solution than weapon.
No, it is.
Reforging.
It absolutely is from a game design perspective, where I really like using hand cannons, so I'm going to tool my armor around using hand cannons. Or I really like sniper rifles, so I'll tune it around sniper rifles, and then you're on your quest to find your baby sniper rifle. Whereas here it's like, oh, I found my baby sniper rifle, and now I have to tune all this armor or just wait on RNG drops for that, which is really difficult to do in the game right now.
That sounds good. I think everyone should have an opportunity to have quick reload on their preferred primary. I didn't know I could do it on the Vex, and now I do.
True Vanguard, you were trying to say something earlier, but I don't think you were able to. Do you want to take a look at the list and what jumps out to you as something that you're really excited about?
Quite honestly, I think, and this is one of the things that I think has kind of been overlooked more or less in light of some of the bigger changes that are coming. But while we're talking about the Crucible here, and weapons specifically, one of the things that I'm really pumped about is they mentioned a tweak, or rather an overhaul, to the matchmaking system, and that's huge to me. That on top, it was kind of announced in tandem with the mercy rule thing. And that's huge. I think that deserves a little attention as well. Because
could you explain the mercy rule real quick for those that don't know what that is?
Well, we don't know a ton about it other than that it exists.
What was said at least.
So essentially, one of the problems that they're trying to address is that, for lack of a better term, is pub stomping. And that's just a term that describes when you have really skilled players matched up against players who maybe are a little bit more casual, and they just don't stand a chance. So what happens is, you get players on the other team start to leave the game. It drags the game out. You end up having like a 3-on-1 for like 10 minutes straight as it's cycling new players in, and then they leave. And so what they're going to do is, at some point in the match, if there's I think it's specific to the game type, but if there's a certain amount of point difference, they're just going to call the game, okay, that's good, that's done. You're not coming back from this. Let's just say this team wins, this team loses, and let the matchmaking sort of try and reset itself and find you a better match at that point. I actually think that's huge. That's one of the things that ruins streams for PvPers. It's because you get pub stomping, and then the stream suddenly gets really, really slow for the next 10 minutes as it's a 3-on-1 or a 6-on-2 or something like that. But anyways, my 2 cents.
I agree. Like if I'm doing streaming or something like that, even just like playing with some friends, like, hey, I want to go do skirmish. Well, we get in a match where only 2 of the people are on a team with each other. Like, well, okay, we know how this is going to go. The extra person's going to leave, and then there's going to get one more person to join in, but then the other 2 people are going to leave as a team because they saw the other guy leave. Now there's only one person there, and now I'm sitting here, just waiting for people to load in so I can kill them so they can leave, and hopefully hopefully we can kill them enough times before the 10-minute timer runs out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. I'm glad they're doing it. I mean, it seems like if a team is if a team crosses 15,000 and the other team hasn't crossed, like, let's say 3,000 or 4,000 yet, I think it would make sense to be like, let's just end that match, and stop bringing in people. So,
you know what, a mercy rule is great, but what you really want is better matchmaking.
True.
Yeah, absolutely. Which they're talking about they're doing in that list.
So the question is, how are they going to quantify player skill? Like, what are the factors that are going to play into that, and how's that going to affect the matchmaking? Are they going to be looking at things like KD or combat rating or what?
They're going to look at if you're using Blink.
If you're using Blink and Shotgun, then you get put off into another separate matchmaking thing, and everyone else who's not using Thorn, Blink, Shotgun, and then arc bolt grenades, they get put in their own list. So then it becomes a very
version of the Crucible with big letters and small words.
Yeah,
make it easier to read.
So I just want to bring up something real quick that I was talking with Story Machine on the Nightfall, and he mentioned that I don't know if this is true or not, but he was talking about that there might be a terms of service agreement with Xbox Live and PlayStation Network about the minimum required or the maximum required ping to allow people in multiplayer games. So there might be an attachment to the network factoring in for how they can matchmake people, and apparently that is 500 milliseconds, which is ridiculous.
Ooh, that's huge.
It's crazy because if you go on to, say, Battlefield and you jump on servers, if you start pinging over 100 milliseconds, you get booted from the server. They're like, I'm sorry, you're lagging. Well, 500 milliseconds is ridiculous. And we've all experienced those type of snipes or whatever where we're like, I sniped that guy. Oh, wait, he's dead 500 milliseconds later. Yeah. So it might be a thing that Xbox Live and PlayStation Network say, no, you have to allow these people. Otherwise, you're violating the terms of service for your software.
It could be. We don't know. I would wish they would not go, like, don't go as hard as Counter-Strike and be like, okay, if you have anything above a 60 ms ping, get out. Because that's what I'm used to from my Counter-Strike days, but 500's too much. If that's
It's too much.
yeah, if that's also true. But again, we
I mean,
don't.
it makes sense why you see so many red bars.
Yeah, true.
If you get matched up with 500 millisecond people,
True.
you know.
So next up on the list over here, I don't know if you guys saw in one of the vidocs, but there was a very interesting item in one of the weapon slots on Venus, or on one of the characters. The item was a sword. And there's another quest from the ominous Eris Morn that leads to the rediscovery of a forgotten weapon type. So this could be a couple things. There's the relic option, which it could be like the forgotten weapon type are relics, because forgotten and relic, that seems to make a little bit of sense together. It could be that just learn how to use, or the swords are a new weapon type that we get to use as a heavy weapon. That would be fun.
Rediscover energy swords from Halo.
Yeah, rediscover the
Yeah, pretty
gravity
much.
hammer. Yes, please.
It also had an ammo counter on it in the little picture next to it. I think it had a 20 in the ammo
It's like
counter.
30 in the ammo counter, yeah.
Was it 30?
Well, in Halo, you had the energy sword had a certain amount of hits, and same thing with the gravity hammer.
It's probably similar.
Yeah, like 10 hits basically.
I hope it's,
But you had
I hope it's not overpowered in the Crucible.
I don't think it's gonna be able to. I don't think it's gonna be able to be equipped in the Crucible. I just have a.
I hope you're right.
yeah.
I'd be shocked.
I don't know.
if it could be used there.
The thing is, a Fellwinter's Lie at the range that we have right now would
And
still
if
be
you're
able
going
to
up
beat
against
that.
ranged heavies, when heavy comes up, you have to be really strategic if you're dodging rockets to get in close with a sword.
Exactly.
I just remember the sword in Halo being awful because people would just like camp in corners and just wait for other people to run around and nab them in the butt. The thing was so ridiculous. I hated the energy sword in Halo. I hate to see it make a return here.
But seeing Halo, you didn't.
Okay,
have
so
all
Briar's
the
going to be the one
overpowered
hated in
weapons.
comments this time.
Yeah, but it was only one person that got the sword at a time.
Right.
Yeah, and here you have the shotguns to counter.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it may have those really quick swipes. That's what would, make it unique and possibly good in some scenarios.
That's true. Yeah.
All I'm saying is it would be a welcome item in my loadout. So then I just pick up heavy ammo and let that sit. So then I'd be doing my normal sniping thing. It's like, oh, someone's getting too close, and I can't. And they probably have a shotgun. Switch to the sword.
The sword.
Yeah. So that's my thoughts on it. I think it'd still be fun, even if it's not usable in Crucible. I can't wait to see what that's going to be about.
Yep.
What else? Tefty, you see anything on there that?
Oh, I actually don't have the list pulled up.
Briar, do you see anything on there?
Equipable emotes are now available below your emblem selection, so you can choose which dance you want to do or what wave you want to do. I'm hoping for the Carlton to make a return from Bungie's
Yep.
Yes.
Bungie's April Fool's Day joke.
Love it.
I think the fact that they're adding more emotes, obviously with the digital collector's edition, but probably more in the future, bodes well for, how they did like the Halloween event. Not really an event, but they had that special Halloween item. I'm hoping
Yeah,
in
the
the
Jack-o'-lite?
I'm hoping in the future they're gonna have special event emotes where you may have to
that'd be
log
cool.
in at a certain day or something like that and do something, but if you're on that day, then you get a special emote that only you can have. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, that
That'd be
would
awesome.
be another thing. So instead of getting like jack-o'-lights, we'd get some new emotes. That'd definitely be cool.
Tiers, thresholds for intellect, discipline, strength that tell in seconds what your cooldown is rather than a percentage that you have to find out.
Yay!
So when you equip
That's
armor, you'll see that this thing lowers it makes your cooldown 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 7 seconds.
Yep.
Much easier to judge what it's going to be.
Yeah, it's like a quality of life improvement. Just
Absolutely.
building your character, getting the stats right in front of you, as opposed to this arbitrary 270, 280, whatever it is, to know it's maxed out and not even know exactly what the cooldown
What the
is
actual
giving.
max is.
Yeah. Or what it's doing, like from what to what,
It's like is going from 75% to 100% discipline actually good? I don't know, because there's no numbers. I really hope Bungie takes that lesson that they're learning right there and applies it to other things like, I don't know, the perks, the way perks are worded. Like today
Mulligan.
there was a really big post on Reddit that I got linked to where someone was kind of trashing my review of Unflinching, and rightfully so, because apparently I didn't review it properly. I measured the distance. Basically, I looked at the tooltip, which says, let me pull it up here. The tooltip says easier to aim under fire using this weapon. So I was like, oh, so that probably means it makes your scope move less. That seemed like a logical step, and because using Unflinching didn't really seem to do that, though. After I measured it, I was like, oh, it didn't actually make a significant decrease in the measure in how far you get hit with that. Turns out it causes it to go. Basically, it causes your scope to recenter like 3 frames quicker than it does without it. So long story short, it's like a 30% decrease in the amount of time it takes your scope to center, which again is an improvement in aiming under fire, but that's not the way that I would have thought it would do that. So maybe if that perk just said your scope will recenter quicker while under fire, hey, that I know exactly what that does now, and I could test it empirically instead of guessing.
There was a post about Grenader versus Army of One, and those are one of those perks where I look at it, I'm like, well, Army of One gives me grenades and melee. Yeah. That sounds fantastic. But it actually wasn't that good, and Grenader was a lot better for the grenades. It was a small difference, but, these are things that you don't know unless you have somebody test them out, so it's great that we have such a good community.
Also, that post discovered that you can get assists off yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is pretty silly.
Yeah. So he's like, how come this wasn't working? I was the only one testing this. I should be able to get kills. And then it turns out that if you don't damage if you damage something and then kind of let it live 7 seconds later, and then you kill it, it counts as an assist.
I'm going to be introducing
time and space.
Introducing a lot of new perks with Taken King, so I'm just hoping that the wording of them are just kind of more clear and more concise about exactly what it does, so we don't have to do all this. I don't mind testing it, but if you're testing it and you don't exactly even know what it does in the first place, I mean, it's kind of hard.
Yeah, I mean, that's why that Unflinching video that Unflinching thing got a lot of hate by the really hardcore community, was because I did it wrong, and they knew exactly how it actually changed it. So I assumed wrong.
Also, numbers like the attack values and the defense values, they're really arbitrary. Like 365, like a year's worth of attack. Is that what that is? Like, what was the reasoning behind making it 365? I don't
know. I think that was just okay, so we're gonna start with base 300 and then increase to 331 because that's the technical increase between. I can't remember. The 2 levels ended up being that, where it was 15 and then 16, and then after that it was 17 and 18 or something like that for attack levels.
Right.
At least that's what I think.
But when you look at it,
yeah,
it immediately makes you go, huh? Why? How about level 1, level 2, level 3?
Yeah,
because it's essentially the same. They're just gradients of percentages.
Yeah.
At this point, And same thing with the defense values. So I hope that gets fixed. So it's more less confusing for people that jump into the game new. Because a lot of people that I've shown the game to ask me, okay, why is your defense? What does this mean?
What does this mean? There's no time to explain. Just shoot stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't have time to explain. I don't have time to explain.
Oh, I just want to talk a little bit about the stats, like the speed, armor, and recovery. Because in this expansion, they really didn't do too much. Everyone was boosting recovery because it gave you more bang for your buck.
It's generally you boost recovery and armor if you're in PvP. And I'm the one that goes against the grain and does armor or recovery and agility because, The
difference is really small, but what I hope that they do is, like some of these unique perks that are going to be to classes specifically, if it actually boosts the base stats of the character instead of doing something to the guns, make your player better or at least more diverse. If you actually put on more recovery, you're going to see that because they're going to change the way like 3-shotting, and they were saying that if you increase your armor, you're going to be able to live past certain attacks.
Right.
So it'll make having more armor more significant. I just hope that they spread that out between all three. Like, if you're going to go all speed, like, I'm going to sacrifice maybe a shot from a handgun that typically kills you in 3. It'll kill you in 2. You know, there's a big trade-off, but I want to see that boost to speed.
Yeah,
And when I'm saying that boost to speed, I want everyone to remember that I'm still thinking in the confines of the new Taken King shotguns and things like that they are going to balance out these weapons for that. That's just me hoping.
Yeah, because right now, like I like going all speed, mainly because you, as a hunter, you don't have the option to go all recovery, all armor. You can either go all armor or all recovery, and then agility is your primary stat. So, and I don't like, just with the way Thorn is in the Crucible, I don't like having to wait so long to regenerate my health. So I go all recovery and all agility, and then just pray I can get out of the way before that second headshot comes in.
Since you talked about handguns, I just wanted to throw something out there about them, because you guys were talking about how the handguns were getting hit a bit. They were even losing some in the clip. I'm going to use the last word as an example, because this is what I think is going to come with the last word.
Okay.
In close range, it's still going to be an absolute beast. You may not even be able to tell the difference.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's going to have a great time to kill, but they're going to nerf the range. But now, since you are in that close range where it's supposed to shine, you're going to take that fight if it's straight up, with no variances. You're going to win it, but you're not going to be able to do a follow-up kill. That's what you're going to trade off for that guaranteed kill at close distance. You're going to trade off that you cannot take on more than one person, which to me seems pretty fair if you want that advantage.
Yeah, it does seem fair, but then I'm thinking about the legendary hand cannons over the exotic ones in particular, because a lot of them,
I can't see them doing that, because if they really do that, that's the auto rifles all over again.
It is.
I hope they were just, because they didn't want to reveal everything about the new weapons. So I thought they just kind of, they kind of glanced over them, but they didn't get too specific. Like on the Thorn, when they say it's going to stack 6 times, I imagine it's just going to be PvE. 5 times. It's probably just going to be in PvE.
I think they said that specifically.
Yeah, okay, perfect, because it wouldn't make sense to do that,
Right.
And then maybe they're just going to leave the legendaries as they are, because it really wouldn't make sense. I do find the legendary hand cannons to be
Did they say that it was only going to be PvE?
No, they said it's going to stack to 5 times, so they didn't make
just,
any exception there. So
because here's a scenario:
yeah.
You go up against a radiant skin ram wearing max armor warlock, then a 5-time stack of Thorn could make a big difference.
Yeah, but I mean, if he took
is
5
it really going to take 5 shots?
He's dead anyway.
Yeah.
Not a radiant skin.
Radiant
skin ram lock. That's close to like.
That's 480 damage.
Yeah, 480 health.
Like so in scenarios like that, it actually could be useful in the Crucible. Also, baby blading. Being able to take out blade dancers really fast. Not obviously 3 shots and they're dead already. So a regular Crucible Guardian's not what we're talking about.
Let's talk about some of the new stuff.
If we want to talk about weapons, how about the Gunsmith now has a reputation meter that can be leveled by testing out common prototypes in the field, and those test weapons have a built-in challenge like killing Hive on the Dreadnought or using a sniper rifle to get headshots in the Crucible, and then you can check out as many as you want at a time. And then once you hit a certain... I'm just going to read the whole thing for him because all of it sounds good. Once you hit a certain rep level with the Gunsmith, he'll open up armsday purchases where you pay Glimmer to order a new legendary weapon. And like on Wednesday, it'll arrive with a random set of perks.
Armsday!
Yeah, I'm so excited for Armsday. It's like something new, like a brand new daily thing, or a weekly thing. I'm actually really excited about this. I bet this is going to replace weapon reforging with the Gunsmith, right? He's like, that's why we're not hearing about reforging, but we are hearing about this new thing with the Gunsmith. And this sounds fun as hell.
It does, yeah. It is interesting. I wonder if has Bungie mentioned anything about the reforging kind of diminishing things and wanting to move away from it at all?
I don't think so.
No?
I bet they're thinking that in their head. I don't think they've explicitly said that, though.
I think that their silence is telling.
Okay,
the omission of talking about it in the Taken King is kind of telling, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Because this Armsday thing sounds fantastic, and I love the idea that you get to pick up these prototype bounties and just go do more things in the world that we like to explore in,
Okay, so we have the animated for blood and violence logo coming up.
I looked up at the stars.
Is that a war sat?
That is Eris Morn.
I was a guardian.
That is Eris Morn speaking
Morn.
right now, and that was a war sat going by with a very large asteroid, an extremely large asteroid, because we know the size of those war sats.
And a future full
Your eyes
of
saw
light.
hope, Eris. Isn't Eris blind?
6 of you went
Doesn't
down.
she have 3 eyes though?
Pit.
I think she's blind.
You sought revenge.
I
Okay,
don't think
so
we know
we're
how
seeing the
Eris is
Dreadnought
Look at the
now.
scale. Okay, I think this is
This is
all
all
about
about
scale
scale
right
now.
now. This is looking
Definitely
huge.
scale.
Okay, so
Ooh,
the Dreadnought
just blew
is
up.
exceedingly
His
large.
last breath, he reached out across the night. And now,
I hope there's a level like outside of it with like weird gravity. Just float out into space.
I think
That'd be awesome.
I'll have something to say about gravity later. Okay, so some three
Yeah,
Night
that was pretty
Bros
good.
walking forward here.
Oryx,
It's the Nightbro clan.
They're gonna sacrifice themselves, calling it.
No, they're gonna get turned into Taken.
Yeah, they're sacrificing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He smells the blood of his son.
hands.
Oh, he's charging his lasers. What is that chart? What is that energy stuff? Is that the Taken energy?
I'm not sure.
Dude, what if they?
That's a
released
lot
new
of
energy
ships.
type?
That's a lot of ships.
We have slain his brood.
That's a lot of ships.
We have murdered his son.
It is a fleet.
hmm
Now the
He's
Taken
coming for us.
comes for
Oh, well, I called it. And Eris is like, now the Taken King comes for us all. All right, so that was the Taken King prologue trailer. So stuff in that trailer looks like some. I don't know if you guys remember that original art. There was the tomb ships, not the hive tomb ships, but
Pyramid-shaped
the
ones?
pyramid-shaped ones.
Yeah.
Looks
Yeah, I
like
remember
those
that.
are going to be Taken ships.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Where was Oryx this whole time?
He was on vacation, you know, Andromeda
Do
Galaxy
we
or
need
something.
Wally to explain this?
It might take Wally to actually explain this, but
Yeah, he needs to be on call for these
I think
things.
he was
He
supposed
was,
to be on this one, but he had to be at work at the last minute.
He was binging Breaking Bad.
That's a nice cinematic. I just
is.
hope there's so many of them throughout the story campaign. Like I just hope it's littered with them.
Yeah.
Like from
That
what
would
I
be nice.
from what I understand from what we've seen in those vidocs, yeah, there's going to be a lot of not
At
like
least one
big-
more cinematic, because you know we
Yeah, there's
saw
going to
the
be
one
at least one more.
at the end of the trailer where the Queen's brothers kind of flying through, and so that's a completely different cinematic. And then we've also got the cutscenes, which is not the cinematics, but so yeah, we've got a lot.
The
Yeah, you see
in-engine
Cade
cutscenes,
6.
yeah.
Yeah, talking.
Oh
Cade
yeah.
6 was talking to the Vanguard shipwright, or the tower shipwright, which I'm sure that was a fun conversation. Because Cade 6, I believe he has a gambling problem, if I remember correctly, so he probably lost a bet to her.
Here's what I'm loving about this. Looking at these cinematics and even looking at some of the notes here, one of my biggest concerns before we knew any of this stuff was, are we going to get more pointless characters with the Taken King? But it looks like what they're doing is what we always wanted, is developing the characters we already know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cool to me. That's what I really want. I don't want more pointless characters. I want to know Cade 6 better. I want to know Zavala better.
I
All
want
these
to know.
characters.
I want to know them better without going into the Grimoire, because
Right.
if you go into the
Right.
Grimoire, like, yeah, Cade 6 is a really cool character. Zavala, all those guys are really cool characters, but you don't know that without reading a lot of stuff while you're pooping.
Right. You know what's funny? What's funny is they made a lot of the same mistakes that Borderlands made on Borderlands 1 and then fixed on Borderlands 2. Because in Borderlands 1, you had these enemies, and it was like, okay, and I don't really know why there's bad stuff going on, but there's,
I get to shoot stuff and it's fun.
you shoot stuff and I loot things, and that's cool. And it looks like they made that mistake in Vanilla Destiny and the expansions, and now they're fixing that in the Taken King, where Oryx is the bad guy. because before it was like the darkness, and the darkness could be anything. It's the Cabal, it's the Hive, whatever. There's all these problems going on in this universe, and now we have Oryx, who's a god that's here to come to destroy us all
because we killed his son. I don't know if you. I
We killed his son.
don't know if you figured that part out yet, but we killed his son.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool that they're finally getting that right. Let's give it a point of reference for a reason to do this stuff, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to the Praedyth mission, where we're going to find out more about Praedyth. We're going to go back into the Vault of Glass for the Unsealed Paradox mission and find out the fate of Praedyth.
Maybe it rewards a
fate of Praedyth.
Maybe it rewards
New
A new Praedyth?
Yeah, the fate of Praedyth sounds like a pulse rifle or something. Or no, a hand cannon.
Fate of Praedyth. Yeah, it does. One of the cooler things, remember how we were always talking about there's too many materials, stuff like that?
Yes.
The Crucible and Vanguard marks are being taken away and put into one new mark system called Legendary Marks. And then...
My question, hold on, before you move on, my question is there going to be 400 of those that we can earn during a week? Is there going to be 200 now combined? You know, I'm
It's
wondering...
going to depend on the price of new gear, though. They can change it to anything.
They could change it to anything. I'm wondering if they're going to keep that cap, though, that they currently have.
I don't know. Well, hopefully we can get some clarification on that soon.
Yeah.
I know you guys probably have a main character, and then you have like 2 alt characters that are a different class if you're playing the game correctly. By having multiple classes like the game's meant to be played. So you're probably going to have a bunch of sapphire wire on your main character, which is a hunter, and then you have no hadronic essence or plasteel plating. Well, they're getting rid of that. Now all armor materials will just be armor material, and it will be shared across all classes. So you can use that Destiny item manager, toss over your stack of materials, and you're good. I worry about it on my Titan all the time because I don't play him enough.
Yeah, they're reducing the number of different types of materials in general too. Which, while they said they're not going to be directly fixing vault space, that will help with vault space.
Yep,
right?
it will help a little bit.
Because there's less number of different types of materials. That'll mean that those are taking up less slots in your vault.
Well, I think it'll still take up like the same amount overall because like you still have that one character slot that's going to be or that one inventory slot that's going to be for your class specific region.
But aside from that, they're also getting rid of other types of materials.
True.
Did we already?
Which other materials?
Did we talk about the emblem and shader kiosks?
No, we did not.
No,
Why don't you
that's
take
another
that,
thing
Ryan?
that's really going to help.
A big saver, yeah. It's not only going to store the stuff outside of your vault, but it's going to keep kind of a running tally of what of the emblems and shaders you've owned over the course of your Destiny career. So it's not like you have to worry about losing one or pulling one over to one character over another. It's just going to be in that vendor, so you can go to that vendor. It's basically like a vault specifically for emblems and shaders, and you just open it up, select the one you want, and there you go. You don't gotta...
I remember hearing that request, and I'm glad they took that.
It'll also show you how to get the ones you don't have.
That will save some inventory space. And yeah, the biggest thing is it will... You're like, oh, I really like that God of War shader. Where do I get it? And it'll tell you exactly how. Hopefully it's not just going to say luck on it for some of those.
Art in Jesus?
Yeah, get on your knees and
Play more
pray.
Destiny.
Yeah.
Another way
Run
to
strikes.
improve vault space, they can actually just allow you to stack duplicates, because some people have duplicate exotics that they don't want to change over and things like that.
That might be another thing.
There's a lot of ways to actually save some space in that.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, if you guys are wondering why we're like peter-pattering around the whole no more vault space thing, is because they've said there's not going to be any vault space increases coming in the Taken King.
Yeah, well, at least not at release, but they did
not
say
release.
they specifically said that they're working on something that makes them excited, which obviously we should be excited about that too. I mean, it looks like it's just a matter of time before the vault is increased or improved in some way or another. It's just a matter of time.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they'll finally just pull the plug and be like, sorry, older generation, you're stuck with with the lower vault space size, and a newer generation can get some of the better vault size. Maybe that's the route that they'll go. I know a lot of people would be unhappy with that, but it is.
Well, I think this is the last year, right? That last gen is going to be supported.
Yeah, this is the last year. The last gen will be supported in Destiny.
Have they said that specifically?
No. I don't believe so. I don't believe so.
I'm just assumption.
I'm just assuming it because like that's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Nah, I wouldn't say that.
There's a lot of companies that are moving on to next gen now.
There are.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of money. There's a lot of people who still have those older consoles, and Destiny 2's development didn't start like this year or last year. So that decision might have been made before they realized how fast the PS4 and the Xbox One were selling.
This is true, but I still would be extremely surprised if the game comes out for 360 and PS3, just because developing for those consoles right now, I just don't see that as an option for them.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat
if they have all these issues currently with the game with the older hardware, then I highly doubt that they'd be like, okay, now we have to make Destiny 2, the thing that's supposed to be better than Destiny 1, still work on these older generation consoles. No, that's not an option in my mind.
It's a lot of resources wasted too.
Not to change the subject, but
it's not only wasted if they don't sell 1 million copies on the Xbox 360 and PS3.
True, but you know, it'd be even better selling 1 million Xboxes. And
I agree. I'd rather have the game come out for this generation only, not the last generation.
Yeah,
because I think that promises a better, more robust game. But I mean, if there's money on the table, it's hard to just not pick it up.
A slight off-topic thing. You know how I said earlier about the RNG thing, about getting a bunch of sawtooth oscillators?
Yeah.
Ran the Nightfall right now. Got a sawtooth oscillator. Just saying.
Look at you multitasking.
I'm getting mad sawtooth oscillators right now on PlayStation.
It's something telling you right now that you need to use.
I need to use this
more often.
This machine gun with a max rate of fire, really not good impact, horrible range and stability and reload. You know, just go for it. It's great.
I would hold on to it for one of the 4 new strikes, or 3 for non-PlayStation users.
Oh yeah.
That are going to have replayability because they're going to cycle through the species you fight in the strikes.
Yep.
How cool is that? So you might go in for a strike, one day, and it's got Taken in it, and the next day it's got the Cabal in it.
Maybe it'll have Taken Vex, and then it'll have Taken Cabal, and the next day it'll have Taken Hive.
Yeah, that'd be cool, right? I mean, any kind of randomization of this kind of stuff increases the replayability greatly.
Yep. Well, can't they mix the factions at this point since they're all taken over, so they're all buddy buddy now?
Yeah, but they're saying
so there's different combinations.
Specifically, they're going to cycle. Yeah, they can do different combinations too. Yeah, exactly. They're going to cycle through it though, so that like the strike will be different. It'll have different enemies in it depending on when you go in it, or kind of the role of which strike version you get.
Yeah, I'm thinking it could be like regular Cabal fighting against Taken Hive or something like that. You know how it is now where it's like, Fallen against Hive or whatever. I mean, now it's probably going to be taken against whatever the enemy is.
So they're also going to have multiple narrations to provide more info as you replay the strike. So there'll be different narrations for each version of the strike.
That's smart. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, it is cool.
Lets them fit in more story.
Yeah, absolutely.
More story, just more replayability.
So I don't know about you guys, but personally, I don't like wearing class items because I never want to take off my my Dead Zone Revolution cloak. So as a consequence, I only have on my hunter all the factions leveled up to rank 3, or rank 9 in case of New Monarchy, because I did that really early on in the game. And then all my other factions, or my Crucible and Vanguard factions, are like rank 60 to 80, because of that. So now, actually, it's 58 and 42. I was in a loading screen. I couldn't check. Once Taken King comes out, you will no longer have to wear class items to gain reputation. Instead, you pledge allegiance to gain rep for a faction, one at a time. And you can also turn in unwanted materials like Motes of Light, the new armor upgrade stuff, those to increase your reputation as well.
It's pretty awesome.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the new cosmetic items are going to have perks.
Mm-hmm.
So like your decision to equip your cosmetic item is no longer about which faction you want to earn rep for. It's about which perk you want out of that item. But you could still earn the rep by pledging allegiance.
Yep. Makes me wonder how useful those perks are actually going to be. Because obviously they can't make them... They can't be like a whole nother armor slot, unless they rebalance everything. You have to equip it for the armor. Or not the armor, but the intellect, discipline, strength type of stats,
Well, I think they're going to end up having to change so many things. That's one of the things that I find weird, that they're doing their patch all at once. I find that really odd, but maybe it wouldn't make sense in the context now. But that being said, if it doesn't make sense in the concept of now, like, what does that do to all these current weapons? Because I know legendaries aren't going to be carried over, but all that means is that you can't upgrade them. In the Crucible, that doesn't mean anything. You can still roll in with your old blues, right?
Yeah.
Well, except for Charles. Except for Charles and Iron Banner.
Yeah. Which you can still actually run a blue. I ran my Evergreen. It was still two-shotting people in the head.
Yeah, I saw a guy who was running the Calcutta LR2, the white sniper rifle that you get, the absolute first sniper rifle that you get as a hunter. He was running that and still one-shotting people in the head with it.
So it's better than Subtle Nudge.
Yes, it is still better than Subtle Nudge. it did more headshot damage than Subtle Nudge.
The original white sniper rifle?
The original white sniper rifle.
I think it's got like a 50 attack rating, right?
Yeah. It's just pointless. See, that's what I'm saying. That's like 365 damage. I mean, what does it really matter?
It's all about impact, man. All about impact.
Yep.
Should we talk about the new leveling system?
Yeah, please go over that.
So the new leveling system is going to leave the light behind, right? Your armor light level is no longer going to be how you reach max level. Now it's going to be experience, right? By killing stuff, by getting experience, that's how you're going to level up your character to the maximum level, which is now going to be 40. Your armor is going to be about defense rating and the perks that are associated with it, not that light level. So all those people who were Forever 29 with the Vault of Glass are really going to appreciate this, because they could never get to level 30 because they could never find that helmet or those gauntlets that had that light level to get them to level 30. That's not going to happen now. Now you just play to get to level 40, and then you're going to be collecting the gear to really kind of specifically modify your character. I think this is a great addition.
I think it's great because it unhinges the problem with, do you get the gear too early? Do you get the gear too late? So now you can hit level 40, you could do the raids, and they can still make it rare drops that aren't hinged to what you can do in the game. So that's great.
It also adds replayability to the old raids, right? So if you want that raid armor for Crota's End, that's going to be the best armor for actually running Crota's End. So now that it's not tied to light level, it's kind of infinitely useful.
Yeah, that's a really great point. I didn't think about that.
Also get rid of a lot of frustration of, okay, on my hunter just this week, it was like, okay, I'm level 20. Okay, now, now because I know how to do it, now I have to go grind strikes to get armor. And then it's like, come on, just, I'm the max level. Let me start doing the max level content, not have to grind these things to randomly get awarded armor that might increase my light level, so I can actually start doing stuff.
It'll take some of the frustration out of leveling up your character. Like that end game of Destiny has always been a little bit frustrating, because you're waiting for RNG to give you a piece that allows you to get up to the max level, so you can go join your friends in the raid. Now you're just going to be able to level up, be done with it, and then the rewards will just be making your character even better.
Yeah, it's also going to be a lot more user friendly too, because I can't tell you the amount of times I've been asked, "Hey, I'm level 20, or I'm level 22 or 23. What do I do to get to 32? What do I do?" So, yeah,
it's always been a big confusion right there. The interesting thing
right now,
though, is that they're going to have to retool the damage ratings and the defense ratings to make it an actual impact then. So when you equip that armor, you really feel the impact. Otherwise, it's just going to be like, if you're a skilled player, you can go in there with common armor and weapons and still destroying a raid if you're highly skilled, if it is the way it is right now. So I feel like they're going to have to retool a lot of things on the actual underlying code of how the damage gets calculated with the new armor.
Yeah, I think instead of level determining damage like how it is now. It's some with weapons and armor, but it's mostly with your level. I think it's just going to be directly tied to the type of armor and weapons you've got. So your level, even if you're level 40, but you're wearing common, green items, which no one would do, but let's say you were doing that.
Dado's going to do it. You know it.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably going to be doing less damage, and you're going to be taking more damage that way. So it's probably it's putting a lot more emphasis on the gear you have and the weapons you have instead of just your level, where you can pretty much use anything if you're 34, but now it's going to be 40.
So
but,
So are blues all going to have the same armor, and our legendaries going to have all the same armor? Or are you actually, is that the new role now?
Well, they're
Trying to
redoing
get
that
a high
tier
armor
system
stat.
too, and I'm a little bit confused about how that's going to work still, because they don't explain that super well.
Well, something I could imagine would happen. They might take a page out of World of Warcraft's book where.
What time is
Boom!
it?
There it is.
Hour 5?
Timestamp
Yeah, there you
that.
go. Timestamp that. Let's see. So one of the things, aside from like the ridiculous stat scaling, which I hope doesn't come in, but what they could probably do would be like, okay, so this will reduce basically the raid armor. The harder the raid, okay, this will reduce the cooldown of your whatever by an extra second or something like that. So that the tiered thing that Briar was talking about, that may be how the raid armor would work to make it actually worthwhile to go get this other types of raid armor.
You know what? I've seen a lot
So
of.
there's still going to be a little RNG in there.
Yeah.
Of course. I've seen a lot of requests, and I personally agree, and obviously you can relate, Patrick, is set bonuses, especially for raid gear. I mean, I think that would be a huge addition.
Oh, interestingly, if they're having perks with the ghost, the class item, and then also, well, obviously the main gear that you wear right now, then they could start doing 5 set requirement class bonuses. If you think about that, be pretty cool.
I'd be A-okay with that as long as they introduce a transmogrification type system.
Nope, you have to wear it
Nope,
even if it's ugly.
nope, I want a transmog system.
You have to wear it.
Nope. Okay, I'm never gonna have set bonuses then. That's what I did in WoW until I could actually transmog. Was, I really like this particular set bonus here. Well, that sucks. I'm never gonna wear it because it looks like poop. Yep.
Wouldn't it be cool though to get a raid ghost? I mean, how awesome! You defeat orcs. The last thing you need for your set bonus is a ghost from the raid from killing orcs.
Or what if there's taken guardians and they drop their ghosts and you get to use those ghosts? You get to use Dregden Yor's ghost. That would be amazing.
That'd be pretty awesome.
I bet there will be something like that, though. And
I wouldn't doubt it.
That ghost is kind of like, maybe you have like a common, a rare, a legendary ghost, an exotic ghost type of thing. And let's say the exotic quote unquote ghost, which I'm just speculating, obviously, but the exotic ghost could unlock more doors. Maybe it's because exploration is going to be a big thing in the Dreadnought. They've said time and time again that we're going to be able to find, artifacts and stuff to summon bosses and all this stuff that relates around exploring. So I wouldn't be surprised if the ghost is kind of an integral part in that, and we need to upgrade our ghost a bit to actually make use of that.
An area. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Might be. And you were, I think, on the topic of reforging, I don't know if this really applies or not, but on that list it says, and this is a quote, as an alternative to using or sharding your new high-powered legendary or exotic weapons and armor, you can also improve an item by sacrificing another piece from the same gear slot. And they said that they're doing that so you can basically look the way you want. So what do y'all make of that?
Is that transmog?
Well,
Sounds
I
like
don't
Sounds
know.
like transmog. Make it look however you want. That sounds like transmog.
You sacrifice the
It's like
weapon.
they're saying it, but they're not saying it. But
What if you had one weapon with the perks you wanted, and if you sacrifice that to the weapon that you like the base stats of,
It's
then
transmog.
those perks move over to the
Transmog.
yeah. That would be great.
Yep.
That would take the place of weaponry forging, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but you can't do that though with like you can't sacrifice a Fatebringer to a year 2 hand cannon.
Yeah, they'll probably put restrictions.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
They'll probably put restrictions on it so you can't do it with certain items. But
That's true.
they did say you could do it with exotics, which kind of is like.
That's yeah.
This is
so
my
here's how I
thinking.
take it.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I think
No
to
problem.
answer the how do I increase discipline, for example, that's what it's going to be. You know, it's not going to
See,
be
that's my
changing your
thought, too.
perks, but it's going to be changing discipline, intellect, whatever. So, you know, like how you could do at Zur, where you could, you know, buy the upgrade. Now you would just be sacrificing, because time and time again we've got, you know, more exotics than we need. You might as well do something with them. So
Yeah, I wouldn't mind
What are they going to do with the
sacrificing.
shards?
I wouldn't mind sacrificing the Actiphage symbiote for a better roll
yeah,
on my current Actiphage symbiote. That'd be awesome.
yeah.
Speaking of Fatebringer, that's not going to be nearly as useful anymore, and you're not going to be able to upgrade it to year 2 specs.
I already dismantled mine.
No, you didn't.
Well, you didn't listen to Cosmo because
of
he
course
said,
not.
"Don't dismantle your stuff just yet."
Yeah, they're going to be doing.
No, I didn't. I didn't.
They're going to be doing a Twitch stream. I'm not exactly sure when. They haven't said, but I have a feeling, I have a sneaking suspicion that raid items are going to be maybe saved from this. I'm not 100% sure, but I'd be surprised.
I hope not, because then it's like, how are you going to make something better than Fatebringer? It's just so damn good.
I don't know. It may be something like, and this is just my personal hope, where a regular legendary weapon, since it isn't as good, might just be, let's say, just for argument's sake, let's say it maxes out at 365 attack, and a Fatebringer, a legendary raid weapon, will max out at 400 attack, and the new legendary weapons max out at 500 attack. So it's not worthless, it's not 365 attack, but it's not the best you can get. So maybe. That's just a guess.
I hope they just move away from year 1 legendaries.
Just put
Yeah,
them out to
I'm ready
pasture.
for that.
They're done. Get them out.
They've learned so much about the game too in this year 1 that I feel like they could make changes to how they develop new gear with kind of the future in mind. Where, you know, Fatebringer was very much a, you know, it's the one of the first weapons that was ever created for Destiny. You know, to have that still sticking around and influencing the decisions that they have to make for current, you know, for current strike design, for current, you know, weapon design, like all that stuff has to be built around, you know, Fatebringer or Galahorn. You know, like that stuff needs to be adjusted somewhat.
Yeah.
So I haven't heard much from True Vanguard this entire time, and I have a sneaking suspicion you like talking about PvP more than anything, right? Okay. Well, I'm going to start talking about some PvP stuff here, and you just interrupt me when you want to comment about something, okay? And we can get that going. Okay. They are expanding the Crucible. There will be 8 new maps and 3 new modes. The modes are Mayhem, Rift, and Zone Control. And we know what Mayhem and Rift are, but Zone Control is basically going to be control, but controlling zones is the only thing that matters. Kills will not give you any points towards your team.
Right. I think that's kind of cool. It's going to detract a little bit away from the kill whoring that you might get from. Am I allowed to say that word on podcast?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. It's going to detract from the kill whoring. Yeah, you know, it's for those players who really enjoy the objective game modes. I'm thinking particularly of my wife. She plays PvP. She enjoys it, but not so much in Destiny as much as Halo. Because in Halo, she can be of use to her team even if she's not a crack shot. There's a lot of things that she can do in these objective-based games. And, you know, Destiny doesn't really have a lot of options for that. Outside of, you know, salvage. Sure, you can be the guy who stands on the zone while your other 2 teammates are killing everything around the map. But anyways, this could be a good change of pace for the more casual players. I think that generally speaking, Destiny does not have a lot of diversity in the Crucible when it comes to having, you know, specific game types that cater towards different types of players, like the highly competitive ones. There's no ranked playlists, right? So anyways, just to have more options to kind of separate to give you a little bit more diversity in the Crucible. I think that's great.
Zone control sounds interesting.
Yeah, zone control.
I wouldn't mind playing it. Yeah, because a lot of times I like the fact that you just have to hold a point to like King of the Hill, basically in Halo. That's fun. It's a fun game mode. So
it's basically like my favorite game mode in World of Warcraft, which was number 2 here. The map called Arathi Basin, in the battlegrounds, where you kind of got points for killing other people, but you got a hell of a lot more points for holding all the zones, and you got points the longer the zones were held. So that was always a really, really fun map because it actually tested coordination instead of just who has, the most broken class combinations in the game. Moving on to the other PvP stuff, there will be quests to ease new players in. There will be 5 weekly bounties in addition to much faster daily bounties. And here's the thing that I'm really looking forward to. If you finish all 5 weekly bounties, you'll be able to unlock a larger bounty where you have a chance at a powerful reward like a legendary or exotic weapon.
it's pretty awesome.
So, Fate of All Fools, anyone? Huh?
I think this is great. I think that they started to step towards this direction with House of Wolves because they heard all the feedback from the hardcore PvP guys in the community. The problem was you're just not getting rewarded. You play the crap out of the Crucible, and the only thing that changes, the only thing you come out of that with, is your stats look a little bit different on DTR. And all the good stuff that you want to get your hands on is outside of the Crucible. And, with the House of Wolves, they tried to pacify us a little bit. Even the day before launch, we started getting these legendary weapons dropping all the time.
Yeah. I remember streaming that, and I got the Revelator hand cannon, I think.
Yeah, and we were like, oh my gosh, this is great.
Man.
They fixed it. But then you got 25 of those Revelator hand cannons at this point.
Yep. I've dismantled so many.
Yeah, so anyways, just to have a rewarding system for the Crucible, I think that's spot on. That's great. Trials of Osiris started to reward us as well, but yes, keep that going, I think.
Yeah, it feels like the weekly bounty things feels like you can work towards a goal in PvP.
Yep.
Because right now in PvE, you work towards a goal. You kill the end boss, you get loot from the whatever. Like that's you get loot from the raid for your first time in the week. That's your weekly goal. Well, now your weekly PvP goal is to finish those bounties. So I don't know if it would be something awesome like get 10 MLG swag scopes in
360 swag
get a bunch of 360 swag scopes before the week goes out, or get sprees of certain types, the harder bounties that they are getting rid of. Actually, the part of the
I want that bounty.
Yeah,
I want that bounty to be called Join Phase.
So sweaty.
Yeah, there's gonna be faster daily bounties right now, like the whole hey, go do salvage, but it's Wednesday and there's no salvage. It's not coming around for another 2 weeks, at least I think. So there's that. There's like the really odd ones, like get vehicle kills. I imagine they'd probably be taking that one out as well, because sparrow kills, and there's so many of those random bounties that just take forever to do, and it just doesn't feel rewarding when you only get 2,000 rep or 2,000 XP at the end of it.
What do you think the big bad bounty could be? Do you think it's going to be like something skill based or something that's grind based? Like Iron Banner, for the most part, Iron Banner bounties are just grinding based. Like if you play long enough, you'll get the bounty done.
Yeah, the only thing is
what if it was skill based? Like what if you had to get 30 kills in a game?
You'd see a lot of people whoring an icebreaker at the edges of the map again. I imagine they'll design the bounties well. At least I hope they would. I wish I could say I wish I could say that I have faith in Bungie and their bounty design regards for those, but I don't know. In the past, they just haven't really done well with those. So hopefully they've learned their lesson and they maybe retool the design team a little bit there to get some better stuff.
They said that in the Game Informer article that the daily bounties will be really simple and fast to complete, and the weekly will be particularly, this is a quote, particularly challenging, much in line with the kind you'd see in Iron Banner.
Okay. So like the only ones that are really difficult in Iron Banner are the close quarters melee kills, because that'll usually take me like 3 days to complete, because I don't like people getting close to me, so I kill them before that. Or the 10 kills, the 10 kill streak, which can sometimes, it just depends on your matchmaking.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see there being a lot of sprees because those are difficult.
I wonder if it would,
depending on the weapon.
Yeah. Yep. I wonder if it would be win 3 matches with, a 5K lead.
Oh, that could be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember some of the old Trials of Osiris bounties, or the old Trials of Osiris Fate of All Fools bounties actually sounded really difficult to do. Like you had to get specific kill sprees with scout rifles and stuff like that, or get this many headshots with scout rifles.
And there actually are going to be Trials of Osiris bounties coming.
Yep, there will be quote unquote 3 bounties added to it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that has any relation to the 3 that were just added to the Bungie database.
No.
I don't believe so.
It says that there's going to be 3 new ones each week, and that'll probably eventually we'll probably see them all at some point.
Oh, yeah.
But I wanted to quickly talk about that armory thing, because I saw a lot of people discussing that, and I guess they didn't really put 2 and 2 together. Yeah.
Everywhere.
So just so you guys know, and I'm not really talking to you, I'm more talking to the audience, but our database has shown these Trials of Osiris bounties since the game, before there was DLC, before there was Dark Below. I mean, these items have been in the database since the game has launched. So what you're seeing on the armor right now, those items, I'm not really sure why Bungie is showing them, but they're not new. They're not updated. They're the exact same ones. They're just, since Bungie created this armory, which is just a database that we've had for a while, they're just showing these things that some things aren't available, some things aren't completely updated. I think what they should have done, which maybe they're teasing something, but what they should have done is just hid the item. Like in our database, we usually hide items that you can't actually acquire, just so people don't get confused. And it would make sense for Bungie to do this, but I don't know why they won't. Maybe they're actually gonna finally have a Fate of All Fools bounty. I don't know, but just
I don't know.
Yeah, just to kind of clear up some confusion there. Those aren't new. They aren't updated. It's nothing that you need to worry about. So
yeah, that's been one of the top questions that I've had in the Twitch chat and on Twitter. Have you seen the new bounties? I'm like, no, those aren't new. They've been there the entire time. They're just Bungie just added them into the database now.
Yeah, and to be fair, like I know people aren't usually me watching the database every single day to see, check for updates. So I don't blame you guys for
exactly
thinking this, because it's on Bungie's site. It's kind of like official or whatever. But just I wouldn't pay any attention to that.
I think the only thing that we haven't talked about, the Metroid Prime style opt-in lore, where you press a button.
Yeah.
I imagine that'll be a lot like the BioShock, where you can find certain things scattered about the world, and you can hit a button and then listen to it. I imagine it'll be really similar to that.
Did you play Metroid Prime?
I did not play Metroid Prime.
So Metroid Prime is basically terminals you'd walk up to, and you'd go into an interface, and it would pull up information. It was still text based, but it would have some pictures and some information that you could read to get more knowledge of the space base or the environment that you're in at the moment. It's really cool. I mean, that game was incredibly submersive for being on the Wii. It was a hallmark game, in my opinion. But
so the Grimoire coming up in the level, which I think is great, but I hope they're starting to hide things underneath stairs. Like I used to play a lot of RPGs. There's supposed to be something under stairs all the time. That's just a given. That's a game thing. And when I go exploring, I don't care if I find ribbons, like scraps of paper with a few words on it. If there's terminals that give you even more information, I just want to find something.
Yeah. You want to look under the stairs and find something?
Like even if it's like 50 glimmer, just something. I want to see something shiny when I go back there. Destiny likes bringing in old areas.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with them putting in stories into the Crucible maps. Like I'd fall for that. That's kind of the link between me as a PvP player and as a PvE player. and if it kind of has like a little horde mode going in there, somewhere where it's kind of like I'm playing PvP but in a PvE setting, like that would be pretty neat for me.
I think a horde mode would be incredibly accepted in the community. And if it was linked into some sort of patrol/crucible environment with a horde mode, that would be awesome. I don't know what it's going to be, but
Like, maybe if they did a navigation, like once you're in the Dreadnought and you come up to this door or this portal, and then that brings you into another area, kind of like the same way that you would do in the navigation screen, but it's inside of the Dreadnought already.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty cool.
We're going to be getting over a dozen new exotic weapons, half a dozen new armor pieces for each class. An auto rifle that shoots bolts of chain lightning, yes please. Sniper rifle blinds enemies on precision hits.
Yes please.
No time to explain. Please. Yeah. Is an exotic version of Stranger's rifle. Sleeper Simulant is a heavy fusion rifle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, the heavy fusion rifle, Sleeper Simulant, the perk is that, it acts like a normal fusion rifle where it'll shoot through stuff, but then it'll also ricochet. So it has kind of a skip rounds thing built into it.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, the more you upgrade it, I think the more those rounds will bounce as well.
I'm hoping that it's more than like a hard light where it doesn't really feel like it does anything when the rounds bounce around. I'm hoping that you're going to see this like physically, and it's going to like be useful in the game.
Yeah. It feels like a Spartan laser, a heavy weapon that you've got to charge up to get one big blast off.
So that and the energy sword, we're getting
some Halo. We're getting Halo.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, there's not exactly like a new weapon type that they can actually invent that we haven't already kind of seen in video games. So there are fundamentals that they kind of have to adhere to.
I'm gonna create an online petition. I want a shark gun from Armed and Dangerous 2, or I think it might just been Armed and Dangerous. I can't remember. But yeah, there was a gun that would shoot out a land shark. And you would see a little fin going along the ground, and then it would just jump up and then eat someone.
Shark.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
I want to see that in Destiny. Get on it, Kate, or get on it, Gunsmith.
What'd you guys think about the reindeer, the jackalope helmet for the Warlock?
That thing looked cool. I think it's in line with all the Warlock helmets that just seem to look absolutely menacing because they're just dead animals, kind of tied to a helmet. We have the ram, which. It is creepy as hell and overpowered. So
Skull of Dara Makara.
Yeah, Skull of Dara Makara, which again looks kind of creepy. Then there's those antlers, which if it's anything like the ram, I'm sure I'm going to hate it. Just going up against it.
I just think it's great because there's some some cohesiveness with the Warlock design, and you see that even with all the gameplay they've shown us of the Taken King. When you see Warlocks, they're wearing these robes that look very shamanistic, and I think that helmet, that ties right in with that.
Oh yeah,
that theme.
Especially the Stormcaller class itself, which kind of ties in with shamans and stuff like that.
Did you see that
lightning.
new helmet that kind of looks like the Apotheosis Veil, but it looks so much cooler?
Yeah, it's got like a electricity or ice or something in the face mask.
Yeah, it almost looks
stuff.
like space.
Yeah.
That's what
there's kind of like astral design inside it.
Like I saw little stars.
Yeah.
I was like,
very cool looking.
Why do Warlocks get all the cool looking stuff?
Because they're the Warlocks. They study all the stuff. That's why,
Yeah, but Hunters are better.
Hey, I'm in the same boat, man. I love my Hunter. But I get the lore behind it. I get why Warlocks are studious and kind of shamanistic and study the real core space magic.
I'm just perpetuating the stereotype that Hunters and Warlocks always fight with each other.
We do not shut up.
No, you shut up. Okay, so Ryan, the stuff about the story, it seems like there's only about it seems like there's not a lot of story. Like there's only 8 story missions or something. But go ahead, go into that a little bit more.
Yeah, so there's 8 initially. I guess those are kind of like the starter, kind of brings you through the main story. But then there's going to be many more missions after that. They're going to be a little bit more difficult. One that we know of. It's based in the Vaults of Glass, and it's called Unsealed Paradox. and it's actually going to be answering questions about Praedyth. So a lot of the stuff we learned in the raid, I mean, we might get some more info on that, and it's going to be story missions like that where it's almost like a side quest, but it's still integral to the story. So I think that's going to be really interesting.
It sounds like Eris is going to have something like that too to unlock that new type of weapon, right?
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the vendors are going to at least have one or two kind of quests for you to go on.
I think that was one of the original complaints from the game, or at least that was one of the things on the Bungie checklist, was more vendor interaction, and that or more character interaction with vendors. So yeah, that would definitely solve that if we're getting all these little story snippets from various characters.
It just feels like there's going to be more depth, right? It's like not only we're going to get these new foundries and we're going to get a little bit of story about that, we're going to get more depth in, the Vault of Glass and the story of Praedyth. We're going to get more depth from Eris, who we thought we were kind of done with, right? She's been standing in the corner for the last 3 months doing nothing.
Surprised her ship hadn't floated away by now. Just tied on with one little piece of rope.
Or she's been fined for docking her ship right there.
And it makes sense for Bungie to do this too, because basically they're going to be reusing some old content, which is cheaper to develop, right? But they're just going to add, a little bit to like maybe the front and the back so that you feel like you're getting something new, even though you're really replaying some old content. Like the Vault of Glass Unsealed Paradox, right? Is we're going to be in the Vault of Glass again, which we just did with House of Wolves. But now we're going to be learning about Praedyth. With Eris Morn, is we're going to have to go through her quest line again. But at the end of it, we're going to get a new weapon. Like stuff like that. It's smart on Bungie's side. It's not necessarily new content, but it may be new story content, which is greatly appreciated.
My worry is that it does feel like reused content. That's my biggest worry. Is that sure, we get 8 lengthy missions, but on top of it, we get a bunch of stories that are rehashed or a bunch of content elements that are rehashed to feel like a new story. That's my biggest concern and worry. What I hope is just like you're saying, that going into the Vault of Glass feels really fresh from this new story and learning about Praedyth, and maybe we get to open up that Vex gate that's sitting out there after you do the jump puzzle. We go to that Vex gate and go through it, and there's a new area in there. That'd be awesome.
That would be so sick.
Or we get to visit that light at the end of the Vault of Glass that we can't get to. That everybody's like, oh, the 6 chests is over there. That'd be awesome.
So what if it was something like, because 8 missions doesn't sound like a lot, but if there is all these side quests on top of developing the characters like Eris Morn, I also want to talk to the Vanguard and things like that. And if they all have side quests, that's great. But to just keep them relevant and to be more practical, I'd like to see that you can go back and go to the Vanguard, and maybe he has another challenge for you every couple of weeks. Yeah. It's kind of like a mini Iron Banner, but it sends you into an area you've already played, because there's only going to be so many areas. But it'd be nice if you get something out of it just to kind of keep the replayability up. And then I also feel like I'm interacting with the vendors more.
I could see that, yeah.
One of the things I liked most about House of Wolves is how they did the Petrovenge bounties. But they didn't unlock all of them right off the bat, right? So it took us weeks to find them all, and it was something to look forward to. Once we figured out that, in the second week when we figured out that we hadn't seen them all, and in the third week we actually got a brand new mission on it. Well, it wasn't brand new; it was reused content, but it was a new mission on the map. It was like, oh, this is exciting, and I wonder if that will be in addition to these 8 lengthy missions, right? It's you'll get 8 lengthy missions, you'll get a new public space, the place to explore on the Dreadnought. Plus, you'll get all this kind of side stuff that maybe is not worth talking about individually. Maybe we don't want to spoil it. That kind of stuff.
Well, the other thing I liked about Petra was that she held on to her bounties for the whole week, so I didn't feel pressured to get them all done. Sometimes you see some really good Crucible bounties, and you're like, those are easy, so you have to pick them up, kind of get them done in case they come back the next day,
Yep.
But with her, it was really easy. It was super casual. I'm like, I have all week if I manage to get some really good Vanguard bounties, and I can kind of stack them all together and get a really productive session out of it. Yeah, that was really laid back, so I like that.
We also found out we're getting 4 new strikes with more raid light mechanics as opposed to just having bullet sponges out there.
Yeah, what is raid light mechanics? It's not raid light. Supposed to be, it's raid light.
It is spelled Light or Lite. Because I'm pretty sure that could just be a...
yeah, it's probably a spelling error.
Yeah.
Is that a spelling error?
It's probably a spelling error.
Good, because it confused me. I'm like, wait.
It's probably raid-like mechanics. I think Dado had a video about it a while back where there's a boss where you have to because
It's got a spinning shield.
yeah, it's like spinning shield, and the only way to get rid of it is to get this item and put it close to him, and that'll get rid of his shield. So you know how we have to use the relic to get rid of the Templar shield. Apply that to a strike, so people will actually learn proper raid mechanics before going into raids.
Be awesome.
Maybe you have to communicate with strikes as opposed to just like bumming your way through.
Communicate.
Maybe.
We also got
it's
to
true.
learn about
You
more
don't-
taken foes.
Oh, I just wanted to touch on that about the communication, because on regular strikes, you don't need any communication.
No.
When I was doing the 35 Prison of Elders, I went with two buddies that hadn't even been there before, and we had a really easy clear because we were communicating. And I noticed how chatty it was. It was a lot funner when you have people communicating and you all have a common objective instead of everyone just going their own way and doing their thing.
Mm-hmm. I think
Mechanics,
that's what
please.
raid light mechanics would add to a strike, right?
Yeah.
If you jump in there, if you get match made into a strike, but you have to cooperate to get something done, then you might
Maybe
turn
you'll see
on
more
that
people
chat.
using the chat now.
Right.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're meeting people, you're talking to people, and then all of a sudden, hey, we're doing the raid later. Do you want to come along? Yeah, man. This is a way of like kind of getting people together inside Destiny. I would love to see that kind of side effect happen, because that's one of the things I see the most in chats is, oh, will you help me do the raid? I've never been able to do it. I've never had a group of 6 to do it. It's hard to meet people. And if we got people to turn on the chat inside strikes, maybe that would help them get into raids too.
Keep in mind that some people can't turn on the audio to the strikes because they don't have a headset or something like that. They don't have a way to
new
communicate.
consoles came with a headset.
Most of them did, but
A flimsy one.
let's be honest, the Xbox one sucks. And the PlayStation one is like $1, earbud piece with it's even worse than the Xbox one. See, I'm not showing favoritism.
My Xbox One has not broken. My mic that came with it.
Ugh.
And that's what I use. It has not broken to this day.
I had to tear that thing off my head after about 30 seconds because it was so uncomfortable. It didn't stay on my head, and then it felt loose on my head, yet it felt like it was putting too much pressure on my head at the same time. It was the oddest sensation, and it is now currently in its box where it originally came from.
I mean, headsets can be bought for relatively cheap at this point.
Yeah,
You go
Turtle
to
Beach is
Best Buy or GameStop.
If you don't have a headset in this game, you're missing half your
yeah, you
I
really
think
are.
that's the takeaway. That's what we're trying to say. I mean, regardless of what headset you have, if you can just communicate with people, if you can make friends that way, it's just going to be a better experience for everybody. It's like a win-win, And sometimes you might have the people that kind of yell at you and are kind of crazy, but you just mute them and you move on. But
mute them, send a complaint, move on.
That is the thing, though. If they do introduce, I hope it doesn't make it so you have to communicate with people on strikes, because that would be a major downfall also for a lot of people. I mean, sometimes I just like to go into some strikes, play 3 or 4, and have Netflix up and not have to talk to anybody at the moment because I'm talking with my wife, So if they remove that, I could see a lot of people getting upset over that. So I hope it's not raid-like mechanics that really require a lot of focus and be like, okay, shoot the rockets now to take down Crow's shield, because otherwise I'm going to get screwed here.
yeah,
So.
I doubt it'll be that intense.
You want to talk about the taken foes? We got a bunch of info about how they're going to be completely different, really. We got taken captains. They're going to have solar shields now. They're going to throw out slow-moving balls of darkness that blind guardians. That sounds like it sucks.
Yes, that does sound like it sucks. All the taken enemies honestly sound really nasty. But keep going.
Taken knights have area of effect scorch attack that dissuades close combat.
So they got
So
search
no
cannons.
more running in with your shotgun. Taken centurions possess deadly tracking shots that can aggressively seek around corners.
No.
Whoa.
They have truth?
Taken wizards can summon shadow thralls for a Zerg-like rush. Eliminate them fast or risk being overwhelmed. I think they also shoot some kind of solar attack, and they now have arc shielding. Is that right?
It looks like it, I think.
Taken scions have the ability to multiply if they are not quickly dispatched.
Well, that's a cool mechanic.
They're like rabbits now.
Yep.
Yeah, rabbits.
Taken Vandals deploy a Defender Titan-like shield that restores their health and is permeable to their fire alone. So they can shoot out of their Defender Titan shield, but we can't.
Yeah, that's
and
gonna
it
be really
restores their
annoying.
health.
The Vandals just got really... A major one of those is going to be really annoying.
Yeah.
What I'd be interested to see is if the enemies around the Vandal will actually go into his shield.
Don't give them any ideas.
Yeah.
But that's what this game needs. I remember playing Halo, and I really like how those enemies interact. You know, when they scattered and all those things, they felt like they had personality and things like that. In Destiny, they kind of just move around.
Yeah, it's very
Doesn't
true.
seem like they really have a purpose. They just kind of go. I know they love cover because they don't want me to kill them. They love
They
their cover.
get hit once
Yeah.
and then immediately.
but I
go
haven't
into
seen
cover.
them do too many flanks. Yeah.
Yeah, the brutes would drop down a shield in Halo 3, and then enemies would go into it. At least I think. I just feel like I remember seeing enemies attracted to the brute shield when they dropped it down.
Yeah, I seem to remember that too.
Yeah.
Taken Phalanxes have an impulse blast that applies a physics impetus, much like their notorious shields.
Okay, so pretty much if you watch that that leaked spoiler prologue thing, which we won't really give any spoilers from it, but there's a part where a phalanx dude or a phalanx shield guy basically has like a vault of glass charge attack, or the vault of glass relic where he kind of brings his shield up and you can see it charge an attack and then it just blasts him back really far.
Yeah, what it looks like is if you damage the shield, if you shoot at the shield, then he's gonna blast back, basically blast your ammo back at you, pretty much. So it's pretty much it incentivizes you to not hit the shield and aim for the arm, which is what you're supposed to do anyway. But
Yeah, that kind of sucks because bullet magnetism and aim assist sometimes causes your shot that's very well placed on his arm to just zoom towards the shield anyway.
Mostly with hand cannons, I've found.
With hand cannons, Vex Mytho class, any high aim assist thing or high bullet magnetism weapon like hand cannons, that just happens.
Taken Thralls can teleport short distances to frustrate attempts to pick them off easily.
Yeah.
And do they have shotguns?
Oh, God.
Blink Shotty just came to PvE.
No, don't encourage them.
So what else is coming out this fall? Because this sounds awful.
Halo 5.
This is gonna be really hard.
I mean, the raid, right? The raid is going to be full of these guys.
people say that the enemies are just reskins, but literally all of the enemies have brand new abilities,
They
Every
have
single
like
one of
the
them.
same model, but entirely new skins, entirely new, some new animations, and then all new attacks. So
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense for them to remake enemies brand new from scratch from the like what would be the sense of a whole new brand new race coming in that have all these things in there? It makes sense that they would take from these characters and give them a different type of life to them. So
Yeah, I don't like this much at all. The Zerg Rush from the Shadow Thralls, the Taken Knights with AoE Scorch Attack, Taken Captains with Solar Shields throwing out slow-moving balls of darkness that blind me. That way I can't see the Taken Thralls teleporting all over the place. Oh, this is going to be very difficult. I don't like it at all.
spoiler alert, turns out Oryx is a salt miner, and he is in desperate need of Guardian Tears. So
he's in
He's gonna get
cahoots with Sir Wallen. Do you think there's going to be an ogre, and they just haven't told us what the ogre?
Yeah, they
is?
showed an ogre in the
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
the GameStop trailer. He's got like a reverse rib cage shooting out his back.
he's got Wolfpack rounds.
no,
I think that's a raid boss, actually. That's one of the raid bosses.
right. Yeah,
one of the raid bosses, or could be one of the strike bosses. Yeah, it seemed to be in a pretty extravagant setting, and he had a very, very cool animation for when he got summoned.
there's a shank, right?
There's going to be
Yeah, there is
two
a shank
Cabal-
There's a giant shank boss.
Giant
Yeah,
shank
there is a
boss.
giant shank boss.
Keep your shank burn
So
weapons,
save
guys.
those shank burn weapons.
Megala shank.
There's going to be two Cabal two Cabal. I don't know if they're captains. I'm not positive, but they're going to be plotting to blow up the Dreadnought with you on it, so that's going to be a 1 strike.
Well, here's the thing: that they're planning to blow up the Dreadnought, but then we go onto the Dreadnought to stop them. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you lost me on that one.
Logically,
it doesn't make any sense. Let's just let them blow up the Dreadnought, and then we're good. Right? Expansion
good, right?
over.
Yeah. Seems like we're into more work than relaxation.
The Darkblade we already saw. Is it called Darkblade?
Yeah, the Darkblade.
Darkblade we already saw. He's going to be a strike.
His
boss.
story actually sounds really cool, where he was a Hive Knight that rebelled against the Hive, and he was banished to basically a dungeon without any light in it. So apparently we have to fight him in complete darkness.
Yes. Isn't that cool?
With just the light effects from our weapons and abilities going off.
That could be really cool.
Sunsingers.
That's really cool.
Him running around with that big old axe.
Yeah, Sunsingers, you're going to be really welcome with your solar grenades. Please get the Sunbreaker gloves.
I'm gonna bust out the glow who.
Yeah, glow who. Oh, that would be great. See if it actually does work. The other thing is the level cap. Apparently, the starting level for this will probably be 34, because with every copy of the tape, we think so. We're going off I think so.
You got to start
somewhere. The reason we're saying this is every copy of the Taken King will come with 1 free character boost. So this is kind of a World of Warcraft tactic, where at the start of this, or at the start of, I think it was a World of Draenor, a Warlords of Draenor, they ended up saying, hey, if you buy the expansion, you will get a free character boost to level 90, which at the time was the max level before you could get into the new expansion. So that's why I think.
Why do you think it's going to be level 34? Just because that's where our
that's the current max level, and
but our actual level is 20 right now.
Correct.
It's our light that boosts us up to 34.
Correct.
And that was a big question for people. They were wondering, well, if I don't have any of these light, perks of armor and I'm just down to 20, does that mean I have to reset everything? And so this
does that mean I have to re-level it, redo all the missions?
So let's talk about one of the really big things that's come up. You are ditching light in terms of it affecting your level.
Yes.
40 is the level cap, correct?
Yes, and so you obtain the level 40 cap. You get to the top of the leveling system by playing the game. The things you do, the enemies you kill, the missions you complete, they all earn you experience that contributes to your level. So by playing the game, you reach that level. Your light is how powerful you are. It is a combination of the power, the attack and defense ratings on your weapons and your armor. So there will be certain missions that say recommended light, of a certain number. And so you want to equip yourself accordingly.
So light is still important, it sounds like.
Light is still absolutely crucial to your survival. But in terms of how do I reach level 40, again, we're taking a lot of the mystery out of that. Keep playing the game.
So the important question is, I'm at level 34 now.
Yeah.
What happens when, we make this changeover? Do you kind of get permanently fixed at 34 because I've completed all the stuff in, up through House of Wolves? How does that work?
You'll take your first step into the Taken King at the level that you've attained, and then there's new things for you to do to reach new and higher levels.
So if I'm at level 26 right now and I boot up Taken King, am I locked at 26?
You're good to go. You're good to go, but there's things for you to do, there's missions for you to play, and you're going to start to elevate above level 26 very quickly. Now here's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Let's say you're level 12, which I know you're not.
Yeah. One of my characters, maybe. No.
So that character, you can benefit from a new consumable that we're giving to every single player of the Taken King. Every single player gets a boost consumable. So if you're brand new to Destiny, your friends finally talk to you into playing Destiny, you're stepping onto the battlefield at the beginning of year 2, you have your boost consumable, you apply it to a Guardian that you create, your Guardian is instantly poised at the starting line for the Taken King and ready to fight.
At level 34?
At the appropriate level to begin the adventure.
Which you're not talking about.
Which I'm not talking
yet.
about. And in fact, I think they're even refining these things, so I'm going to give them the room they need to make those final decisions.
Yeah, it seemed like that's kind of what you were saying too, is because depending on the gear you're wearing, you're not at a particular level. It sounds like you're still figuring out how you started a certain level.
It's just, like what's your weight class? How hard are you going to punch?
That's fair.
And
then,
I'm
a 34.
For me, I'm a Warlock.
Yep, same.
Okay, so have you ever rolled a Titan? You ever rolled a Hunter?
Yeah, no, I'm actually waiting. I have 2 Warlocks and
Yep.
a Titan I was going to do for House of Wolves.
So
but
I'm
now
kind of
taking
coveting this new Solar Titan. You know,
Oh,
I
yeah.
look at that armor inspired.
Sunbreaker.
The Sunbreaker. The armor's badass. You know, the Hammer of Soul. You know, like just like throwing flaming hammer bombs at
It's
people.
It's hard to not be incentivized to start a Titan.
It
after
looks pretty
seeing
cool.
the
So
new
with the
subclasses.
boost consumable, I can start my Titan and I'm good to go. I don't have to do Eyes Up Guardian. I don't have to go through the year 1 content. You know, I've played that stuff for a year. I'm ready to jump into the Taken King, and I love to do it as a Titan. So that boost consumable is good for veteran Guardians and brand new additions to the community.
Okay. And how is that consumable cheap? Like, how do you get it?
It's going to be available to you in the tower.
Oh, okay. So you sort of go and grab it. It's
Yeah,
that easy. It's not something
it's that
special.
Easy. Yep.
You guys are taking some of the thinking out of Destiny. I think I like that.
Well, yeah, we're gonna
But
let you
always so
spend your
much.
thinking on you know, how do you solve these puzzles? How do you work with your friends? How do you overcome these obstacles? How do you finish these new missions? There's still a lot of riddles and mysteries. Like when
Yeah.
you're patrolling the Dreadnought and you're experiencing these new bounties and these new activities, you're going to discover resources that will help you unlock other rewards. And it's not going to be instantly obvious to you as to how that works. So what we're doing is we're letting you focus your mind on the fun things, the fun mysteries to solve, mysteries involving the story, mysteries involving, you know, plundering this space-faring fortress of treasures. What we're not making you solve the riddles of are, how do I reach level 34? Just keep playing that raid. Oh, I played the raid and I'm not level 34.
Yeah.
Just keep playing that raid.
Because I am on the hype train right now, like just from everything I've seen, and this is the funny thing, because they show me one cool cinematic from the beginning of the game, and when you first play the game, they showed me a really cool cinematic, and then after that was it. The first level was actually amazing because it had all those mines and all those things. It was really unique. And it was funny because when they brought out House of Wolves and you do that mission again, and I'm running through it, they put those mines on there again, and I'm like, oh cool, they added those mines that come up that you see in the Prison of Elders and things like that. But really, it was actually just the same thing backwards with the exact same mines. I'd only seen them a couple of times at the beginning of the game, so I'd forgotten.
No, there were different ones added, or they added more of them.
Yeah, they added a few more, but essentially, it was in the exact same area.
Place. Like, you
know?
still only see mines right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, like, they're really teasing me right now because they've got me... That carrot in front of me right now is that the weapon rebalance. If they would have dropped it before the Taken King, I would have gotten a taste for it. And if I wasn't impressed with the PvP then, like, I may not pre-order. But now they just have it on the other side where I have to get the Taken King to find out if it's really good.
Oh, yeah.
So they got me. They got me.
Activision, why are you so smart?
They're good at what they do. Yeah, they're really good at it.
You can always rely on PlanetDestiny to give you the best opinion of the game. So, you know, be sure if you're still on the fence about it, you can always just wait and then view our website to see what we actually think of it. Because I'm sure we'll actually post what we think of it, you know.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing. I mean, we're early adopters because we really enjoy the game and we want to be an early adopter and experience the highs and the lows. But by all means, save your money if you're on the fence. Mm-hmm. You do not have to be an early adopter.
If you're worried about pre-order bonuses, you'll still get the Suros and Hake packs just like 3 months later. So if you're thinking about waiting anyway, you know, I guess you're okay with waiting for those too.
Yeah, but by then, we're going to be talking about the next DLC.
I'm pretty sure the next DLC will probably be like, you know, a month away at that point as well.
Yeah, Omnigul's resurrected.
No.
I'm joking.
They couldn't pay Peter Dinklage to come back and do voice lines. They had to get Nolan North. What makes you think they can get Yoko Ono to come back and do voice lines?
It's gonna be Omnigul's mother. She's really pissed that you killed her daughter. What else we got? Anything else? Is that it?
The most important change of all, you can change the displayed weapon in the tower.
That is awesome.
That I didn't read that. Awesome. I'm happy about that now. Oh my god. Okay, so what weapon are you going to display, guys?
Kostov.
Yeah, why not?
You already display that one.
If I can display that sword type of whatever that thing is, that'd be interesting.
That's the one right there. Display your new sword.
I still think Thunderlord's best looking gun in the game.
Speaking of Thunderlord, did you see the solar version of it? Had flames coming out of it. It looked basically exactly like Thunderlord.
Wait, okay, I haven't seen it yet. Did it look exactly like Thunderlord?
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine a red Thunderlord, and you know how the electricity comes out of Thunderlord?
Is this supposed to be a new weapon?
Flames instead.
Is it like, do we just not know what it is?
We don't exactly know, but if it wasn't exotic, I mean, that'd be amazing if it wasn't.
So here's my thought. If they did go that direction, then it would make even more sense where you could sacrifice a Thunderlord to change the flavor of it. And maybe they're going that direction now with the exotics, that they're going
to change the elements.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, change the elemental type of it.
Yeah.
So you could be like, oh, well, this icebreaker, I want an arc icebreaker.
Yes, please.
Sacrifice.
I want one of
Right?
every.
Wouldn't that be amazing? I don't know if that's what they're going to do, but that would actually do something for weapons, because the sacrificing an exotic for a weapon makes no difference whatsoever unless they put stats on there, which would be a little weird. It makes sense for the armor, but if they did it with the elemental type, now we're talking.
That would be great, Tefty. I love that idea. Could we add elemental type to Hawkmoon?
Yes, please.
I'll take a double helping.
Yeah, I'll take two or three.
So this week, since I'm on Xbox now, literally the number one question anytime anyone joins my party, the first thing they say after saying "Oh hi" is, "So how good is Hawkmoon?" that is pretty much the first thing anyone ever asks me. TLDR, it's pretty good. Like, you know.
So what are you using as a primary now on the Xbox?
I got a last word last night, but I'm still using as a legendary. I'm using Up the Ante, the hand cannon, the Crucible hand cannon. It's really snappy, really lightweight feeling hand cannon.
It is, yeah. Very responsive.
It's not bad.
3-shot headshot kill.
4-shot actually, if someone's wearing the RAM. So I'm salty about
that's
that.
the RAM.
I think it's 77 precision.
It's 73.
73?
Yeah.
Vanguard, I've got a question for you for the 2.0 changes.
Shoot.
So, obviously, we talked about 2.0 a few podcasts back, and I'm sure you've read those changes. So, I just wanted to get your take on what do you think the best weapon type is going to be, and what are you most looking forward to for that 2.0 update in terms of weapons? Like, what do you think is going to shine?
That's a good question. I think that pulse rifles are still going to be pretty dominant. I don't think they're getting hit too hard. And I think what I like the most about this is that I want to see more diversity. So obviously bringing up the auto rifles is great. Bringing down the effectiveness of the exotic hand cannons is spot on, and slightly bringing down the pulse rifles effectiveness as well. And that's really, I don't think you're going to sense the nerf on the pulse rifles unless you're really not super accurate with them. If you're steadily getting, body head on your bursts, I don't think you're going to sense any difference at all. But anyways, the diversity is the best part of it. I think the worst part about this, and you touched on this earlier, the worst part about the update is that it wasn't 2 months ago or even 3 months ago.
It's totally going unchecked. We're going on a lot of faith.
Absolutely. I think that, quite honestly, since I deal primarily with people, all of my conversations with people in Destiny usually have something to do with PvP. I know that there are a large number of people who have been put off by the PvP. Their experience was just so bad over the course of these last several months that they've pretty much been alienated from it entirely. Their first taste was so awful, they just won't do it again. And I think that they've lost a lot of players by making that decision to wait. I think that, for example, I mentioned my wife earlier. She tried the Destiny PvP, and she wanted to like it. The problem was when she started, she was a level, 20 Titan going into the Crucible, and she had a blue pulse rifle, and literally everyone in the lobby is using Thorn and Last Word.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And it was zero fun for her. She had no fun. It was the opposite of it. was the most frustrating gaming experience that she has had in years. And so she will never go in there again. And there are a lot of players like that.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Because we only heard about weapons being changed, and I'm just going to stick on weapons for 1 second. And I think we are going to see a lot of variety when the game first comes out because of the new bounties. When you have to go to the Gunsmith, it's going to challenge people to try new guns so they can do their bounties, if that's how it works, which is how I hope it does. Right. We're going to get that. This is kind of what happened in the game when it first came out, because everyone had to experiment. We were playing around with a lot of different guns. You just don't have all the best guns. So we had that really nice period where there was a lot of experimentation. There was a lot of variety.
Yeah.
So if they do that with the weapons, with the gunsmith, that's one way to add to the variety, but that's only gonna last so long.
Right.
After that, I think a big part is the game types, because now for control you can bring in that Titan and do a little bit more with it. Playing as a Titan now, it does not feel as good as the other classes when it comes to kill potential, and what I'd like to really see is a little bit of a change to the classes, which I know they're not going to do, because that's a big move to change a class. But the Blade Dancer class right now is super strong for PvP because it has it lets you switch between weapons. It has the blink. It has the great melee. Like, it just has everything you want in a melee. Yeah, it just has
Blade.
it has it all.
It has absolutely blink, arc bolt grenades, fast draw for weapons, and then a super that's very difficult to kill when used properly.
And Hungering Blade.
Yeah, and Hungering Blade.
And when you look on the streams, you're seeing a lot less variety because of that, because there is a class that is just better than the others.
Yeah, absolutely. It's in coming from the competitive side, when we set up scrimmages and the sweaties, because I participate in a lot of these clan scrimmages, and it's literally the same thing every time. And what's sad is that when we do these clan scrimmages, I play with typically it's KJ Hovey, and it's the Mana Gator or M Tashed in that third slot, and we have started to ask people, when we set up these scrimmages ahead of time, would you be willing to do a scrimmage if we took exotic hand cannons off the board? And we try to tailor make some of the rules so that there's more gunplay. And I kid you not, it's maybe 1 out of every 4 people will say, yeah, we're okay with that, and then the others say, no, absolutely not. They will only play Blade Dancers with exotic hand cannons,
because if you're playing to win, that's what you're forced to use. It's that much better. It's such an edge. Who's that really good Titan?
Gabriel.
Gabriel.
I was watching his stream, and it's great that he's playing a Titan, but he's not good because he's a Titan. His gunplay is solid.
Wait. He's definitely a fantastic player. Don't let
he's a no. But I mean, like, if he grabbed another class, I wouldn't, because when I was watching him, like, he was doing the odd knee here, like, he was using his boosters, which he's great at. I'm not saying he's not a great player, but when I saw him play, the majority of the engagements he was winning weren't because he was using his booster. Like, that was helping him get around the level, but he was winning engagements because he's a great shot.
Right, it's his gun skills. Yeah,
because if you put him on a Blade Dancer, I think he's going to do just as good or better. Possibly.
Oh yeah,
like, it would take him to adjust, but like, he's got a great play style with the Titan, but on paper, it's just not up to par. Like, I like this new Titan that's coming out. That's why I got a brand new Titan, and I'm hoping that it salvages the class for slaying.
Yeah.
But in this new game type of control, like, I think it's going to have more of a place there.
Like, one of the really telling things about the meta right now is that you can have 2 teams of equally skilled players using all legendary weapons, and you're going to have a really equal match, But then, as an example, I was on my baby hunter, and I'm using I was using Stranger's Rifle and the Calcutta LR2 in skirmish. So, and then Gunslinger. So no blink, no tier 1 anything. It was just pure gun skill at this point. And we were having a really good match against these guys that were doing fantastic. And then once they saw that we were getting a slight edge on them, they ended up switching to blink, shotgun, thorn, arc bolt. Like, they just switched that up, and then they had a massive edge over us at that point.
Yeah.
Because gun skill is still determinant. When I rolled in with my level 11 into the Crucible, I was still doing good because I can aim. I can keep my distance, and I can win the gun battles. It's the little, the intricacies of the game where the class and the perks come in. But if you're a solid shot, you're always going to do well in the game.
But then again, if you're a solid shot, going up against another player who's a solid shot, but that player has Thorn or Last Word, that's the deciding factor there. My Stranger's Rifle could not compete against that. My Calcutta could not compete against that. It was just impossible.
So when you guys asked Vanguard what the next new best weapon's going to be, if you can throw out an actual class of weapons, they did something wrong.
That's true.
Personally,
but their philosophy though is that they don't really, they're not necessarily going for pure balance with all types. I think they said this, right? How they're going for seasons of guns,
which I feel
honestly, I thought that was a salvage thing. Like,
yeah,
just
I feel like that's a
thing in passing that everyone took out of.
I feel like that's a bullshit excuse, honestly.
Yeah, that was.
Even if
they're all gonna have their.
Even if it is a design philosophy, that's a bullshit excuse, because proper balance should be, everything should be, balanced. Everything should have the ability to be used in that perfect world. But when you start doing whole season things, it means you are willingly and you are knowledgeably going, okay, this is going to be better than this, and that's not balance. That's creating those seasons of things, and I think that's what creates a lot of this frustration in PvP. Is if
it's balanced with the favoritism.
It's a balance with the favoritism, and if you come into PvP for the first time, or come in from another game, PvP at the first time, you don't know what that is. You can't get one of those weapons. You're gonna hate the game. So making it more towards actual balance instead of seasons is going to be what they should do going forward, instead of giving that.
One of the things I heard about the weapons, just as you're progressing through the story, they were going to say that the blues were going to matter as you go through the story, and the legendaries and things like that. And I thought the idea, like, how do you keep blues relevant? Like, I have that one pulse rifle, that evergreen, that's it, that blue. But I thought if they did something like, okay, you have a blue, it only comes with one perk, but its base stats are amazing. You get a legendary with slightly lower base stats, and then you throw on 2 perks, things like that. Kind of a trade-off. That's the kind of variety that I'd like to see.
Yeah.
But again, it's hard to balance, right? If you're trying to make everything viable.
See, I love blues. I use blues all the time. I probably have. I have the 24 blue items that I've kept.
There was a green pulse rifle that I used. It came with full auto, and it's amazing.
Nice. I use a white sniper rifle all the time. It's the Hyricon LR2, high enough impact to bang off a revive, high aim assist that matches the LDR. It's fantastic.
A friend of mine was telling me that he held on to a white sniper from the beginning of the game, and he said it felt like the Halo sniper, that he could jump up with it and shoot, and it was accurate.
Yeah, I believe that's the Hyricon.
That's the kind of trade-off.
The first one that you get as a hunter just feels like a proper sniper rifle, in my opinion.
Yeah,
that Calcutta.
It's either the Calcutta or the Hyricon. I can't remember the actual name of it. I don't have my Xbox booted up right now, so I can't look. But yeah, it's basically LDR stats on a white sniper rifle, and it's perfect.
Yeah. Just real quick on the balancing thing. I hear what you're saying about it being a cop out to say, like, well, we're seasons of weapons and so on and so forth. The thing is, because they have all of these different types of weapons, I don't mind it, because I don't get necessarily attached to a type of weapon and think, oh, I have to use hand cannons now.
I think that's where you and I probably differ.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. It's like I don't mind if I have to switch it up to pulse rifles, or if I have to switch to scout rifles or back to auto rifles or whatever. Like, I enjoy the experience of trading off different types of weapons and having favorites change over time. So
I agree with you. It's
which is great.
Better to
yeah, exactly. So like the season thing for me actually is kind of refreshing then, because honestly, I've used a hand cannon so much now at this point because of necessity that I really would like to retire a lot of them.
But typically when you have seasons, they're marked out for you, like every 3 months.
Yeah.
You would have to see these constant updates. Like, do you really want to see a season go all year?
No, but that's also because Bungie's learning how to do this.
Oh, you know what? Talking about learning, somebody linked the video where Luke Smith answered a bunch of just rapid questions.
Yeah. Fantastic
and one of the questions,
interview.
Yeah, that was. It was actually really informative, too. It was really short, but it gave you glimpses into the game. And one of the things that he was asked was, do you regret the armor from vanilla Destiny and the weapons? And he said, sorta. Regret wasn't it. It was them learning from their mistakes. And if that's what they're doing, then that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But that's why they may need to scrap some things.
My favorite part of the interview, he goes, do you like me? He's like, yeah, sort of. And then he says, is this a good interview? He goes, I've had better.
Back to the season thing too, is if they make the season shorter and they just are constantly trying to rebalance them so that everything is balanced, I could see that going a long way. I think one of the reasons that we saw this this rebalancing takes so long is that they actually had to adjust the code so that they could fix that range issue that we were seeing with like the Last Word and Thorn and Hawkmoon.
I think that's another reason.
And those are things I don't understand as a layman. They need to tell me those things.
Yeah, well, I think that's another issue why I'm so hesitant to be accepting of the season of the season excuse or the season reasoning, because it's taken them this long. I don't exactly have the best faith in them to know that they will have a reasonable length of seasons for these particular
it's weird
weapons.
too, because they were updating the weapon balance so frequently until 1.1.1, and then they just stopped for
Well,
what was that? That was
part
in
of the
February.
reason. Part of the reason could be that people were still jumping into the game and collecting these weapons for the first time, and giving it a whole year for them to realize their mistakes and then be okay to change them post that 1 year mark makes sense, to give people the ability to jump in and feel that thorn the way it is, so and so forth in the Last Word glitching. Post year one, they can then be like, okay, here's our plan, here's our changes, and if they successfully do that for us, then we're going to be happy. Obviously, if they have the same mistakes and keep on going down this path, then we're going to be pissed off and be more vocal about it, even more so.
Yeah, I get that they need to have enough time to test everything, and because you don't want to put out something and then the next day it needs to be changed because something's gone wrong. So they need ample time to do that, and then obviously they've got the other expansions that they're working on, so resources are kind of tied up there. But yeah, the seasons just go on for so long, and if nothing else, even if there is going to be long seasons, there needs to be just minor tweaks,
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just minor weapon
Yeah,
tweaks.
this last season was way too long.
Yeah.
Basically, one of the reasons World of Warcraft is doing so poorly is because they're taking so long in between all these updates. And yeah, yes, I still pay attention to it. But one of the reasons why I stopped playing was it took them almost a year and a half to do an upgrade patch or to do a balance patch. And when I come back to the game, I was at like 2 months in, and I was like, okay, so which class is really good right now as a healer? And he's like, oh, well, right now you don't want to be a Resto Druid. I'm like, oh, so are they going to be fixing that? And they said, no, we're not. They said, no, we're not going to be touching that until the next balance patch. Oh, when's that? Oh, probably a year from now. Oh, okay. Well, that doesn't give me a lot of faith in them. So I'm really hoping Bungie will learn from Blizzard's mistake there. And if they want to do that season thing, make those updates come like every 3 months or so.
And keep us posted.
2 to 3 months. 2 to 3 months.
3 months
The
sounds
next
reasonable.
update, I think, is going to be the telling one, because I'm not willing to give them a free pass on this one.
I
Because
don't think anyone
I
should.
know they did have to rework the damage and the range and everything, and they actually had to adjust the code. Fine. But the next time, it better come fast, right? It's like they need to be constantly looking at this, because I do not want another 8-month period of one weapon being the weapon to use.
Yeah.
No,
It's
that'd
not
be
fun.
awful.
It's boring.
It would be absolutely awful. Yeah. That's
Well,
why I'm
on a
saying,
lighter
like, the
note-
Taken King. That's why I'm saying the Taken King is going to be a marking point for them to be like, okay, it's year one is done. We're wiping the slate. Here's a new balance patch and a whole bunch of new weapons, and these other weapons are getting phased out. Now let's see how we progress forward. And if they can nail it then, give us like 3-month patches, then we're all going to be happy. But if, just like you said, 8 months go by, we're going to be pissed off.
Yeah, 3 months sounds like a good.
That was I think 4 months was the standard arena season in World of Warcraft. I think I can't remember. I think it was like around 20 weeks, which I can't math right now. So yeah, however long 20 weeks generally was around an arena season.
How do you think they're gonna do the new game types? Because I know they like to keep it pretty tight to keep the population together. Is it gonna be like just substituting it for skirmish, so you're only gonna see the control or mayhem just once every couple weeks?
I hope not, because those were fun as hell to do, and they obviously put a lot of work into them. So they need to be available as and as a playlist to just go, hey, let's go play some Rift today, and not because it's available for the first time in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think the population is big enough right now. Anyways,
At least on PlayStation, it's big enough.
Yeah, I think you'd be fine.
One of the things that I have noticed on Xbox is that the queues are substantially longer, like probably about double or triple the time on PlayStation.
Really?
Yeah, like just doing a simple control match, given it was during actually no, even Iron Banner matches were taking a lot longer to queue for, and then control matches were about double the length of an Iron Banner queue time. It was very odd for me to experience that, because they post how the game has, you know, so many players and everything, yet it's taking forever to find a proper match.
I've actually been on the fence about the PlayStation, because I like the Xbox controller, and that's just probably because I've been using it for so long. Yeah. But how do you guys feel about, because there are attachments to change controllers now?
I wouldn't recommend those. I've been researching them.
Yeah,
I don't either. Yeah. Honestly, for the average gamer, you're not going to get a significant benefit from them, if at all. I think the only advantages that you get from things like the SCUF controller and the Control Freaks, those changes that you get are very, very minor, and they're only going to play into extremely competitive situations.
Oh no, I just mean the that you can actually grab an Xbox controller and get it to work on the PlayStation with
the adapters. I wouldn't recommend using those.
Just to make that transition easier.
I wouldn't recommend.
That's sometimes a big.
I wouldn't recommend using those adapters. I was talking to Triple Rick about them, and he said some of them have some lag associated with them. So yeah, and
input lag.
Like personally for me, even if it's a 2 ms lag, that's too much. So
from your controller,
for a controller,
and the controllers also still feel different because of the way that the Xbox interprets the inputs. So like a certain amount of movement on an Xbox controller on your left control stick may
differ.
May differ from the PlayStation 4 that's plugged
like one of the things on PlayStation, I play at a 7 sensitivity because the control sticks are stiffer, but on Xbox I'm at a 4 sensitivity because the control sticks are a lot looser. So that's just that is one of the things. Also, I'm not a fan of the Xbox controller. My hands really hurt after using it for some reason.
Now, if they could get a 360 controller to work on an Xbox One, we've got something to talk about.
Wait, Enraged Cinema does that.
Does he?
I think he plugs in a wired one and he uses it.
Really?
I think I've seen him on stream do it, and I was like, "Wait, is he on 360?" And I was like, "No, he's on the Xbox One.
Huh.
He's using a wired 360 controller."
Interesting.
I wonder if he's got an adapter.
Yeah,
you might have an adapter. Interesting. Yeah. So someone that actually uses like the Cronus Max or the Zim, feel free to correct me on having input lag. But the research I've done, the people that I've talked to, they say that there is some input lag that they've noticed. So maybe it's fixed by now. Who knows?
Now I've gone one way. I've gone onto a PC with a controller, but there's also an adapter for a keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
Now to me, that almost seems like cheating.
There is a substantial amount of input lag from what I've seen with those. And you can actually, if you play on Xbox One and you have Windows 10, you can play Destiny with keyboard and mouse now.
There's a PlayStation 4 officially licensed keyboard and mouse coming too from Hori.
Yep. So I'm interested in seeing how those perform, because I vastly prefer keyboard and mouse controls, but it'll be interesting to see if like I'm pretty sure the community will be like, no, that's cheating.
Well, in the past, Patrick,
if you're
on the
from
PlayStation
consoles,
3, the way it worked, and it was awful, was that your mouse was an analog to an analog stick. So if you moved it to the right, it would move you at the max speed of moving an analog stick. It wouldn't just whip you around. So the speed of your mouse movement only adjusted how fast you move that stick, not how fast you turn.
Do not like.
Destiny does not directly support a keyboard and mouse setup, so it's not going to feel like a PC.
It'll probably be different, eh?
Yeah, it's not going to feel like a PC, no.
But speaking of SCUF controllers, I actually did order one about a week ago. So apparently those can also help with hand strain, because my hands hurt after playing for like 6 hours.
I've got one on the Xbox One, and they're fine. It's definitely a cheater controller.
Wow, Briar. Okay.
It's a cheat. You know, you're able to hit buttons without taking your thumbs off the sticks, which is, it's something that other players with stock controllers can't do.
Well, no, if you play Bumper Jumper.
Yeah, Bumper Jumper can do that.
Yeah, now that just a slide is where you lose control.
Yeah.
I've always thought about that, like, because you know how some games have the ability to, not many, but it gives you standard loadouts. On the keyboard and mouse, you can always set all your hotkeys to whatever your heart's desire. But when I played games on console, where if you have a nice SCUF controller that you can reprogram, you can get those options. And sometimes I'm like, is that bordering cheating? Because sometimes the way that the button layout is made is to limit you from doing certain movements too well. And if you have a scuff controller, then you do get that small edge. Yeah. It's a small edge, but it's definitely an edge. So
it's an edge
in MLG, in MLG games, they allow scuff controllers.
Right.
So I guess that debate has already been put to rest. I guess it's not cheating at all for a scuff controller.
Not if you're in an MLG. I mean, it's definitely a gray line, right? But it's definitely giving you an advantage. Even if it's a small one, it's an advantage.
And thank you to my subscribers for paying for that advantage for me with all your donations. That's what I put it towards.
You'll be able to see the fruits of that in the stream.
Once I get used to the controller, and then have to get used to going from an Xbox without scuff paddles to a PlayStation with scuff paddles. So that's gonna be fun.
Mess up your muscle memory.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. This was the 29th Planet Destiny podcast, a little special edition here. Went over a lot of the stuff that we are looking forward to in the Taken King. If you want to talk to me on Twitter, I am at Holtzman_PD. Recently got an Xbox, but my friends list is full, so sorry about that. It's literally full. I have 1,000 friends, and that is the max capacity right now. So I will hopefully be able to play with you guys there once I figure that out.
I'm the Briar Rabbit. You can find me on Twitter at the Briar Rabbit, on YouTube at the Briar Rabbit channel, or on Planet Destiny's Twitch page on Wednesdays and Thursdays at 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
My name is Tefty Teft. You can find me on the streams for Planet Destiny. You can talk to me at Teft on Twitter, and you can check out my own channel as well, Tefty Teft Games on YouTube.
And I'm Paper, cut to you, and thanks for having me here. And thanks for telling me about the increased reload speed on my
no problem, man.
I did not know that.
Just helping you out.
My name's Ryan. I'm on 4 hours of sleep right now, so I apologize if this was probably a bad first impression. But, we actually have a lot of new articles on the site, so I hope you guys can check those out and share your thoughts on those. That'd be much appreciated. Thank you.
I'm True Vanguard. You guys can find me on YouTube. Just search True Vanguard. You'll find my channel. It's all about Crucible tips and strategies and breakdowns and builds. And feel free to hit me up on Twitter at The True Vanguard and Twitch, The True Vanguard.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in. Once again, we will see you next week. And sorry about that, True Vanguard, for not... I don't think you got as much talk time in the beginning of the podcast. We'll have to have you on another episode soon. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.